Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see who's here. I usually I go to the stream a little bit before I hit go and see what everybody's chatting up in the chat, but I did not have time to do that today. So I am seeing the chat for the first time. Say hi when you arrive. All right. We got Mark Zemansky in the house. We got an update on that in just a second. I think we should all start coding in Deadman switches into our website just in case clients try to run off with them. Calisthenics Ireland is here. Good to see you. Jaroslav, Larry, Olaf, Simon, Derek is here. Andrew in the house. Brendan in the house. Good stuff. Charlie Sasser's here. Tobias. All right. Man, we've got another, more drama in the Bricks community. Oh, gosh. Plugin authors just taking it to the dome over and over and over again. I don't know what's going on. Ian is here. What's up, Ian? Calisthenics Ireland says, how is ACSS with breakdance? Is everything working, or is it only early stages thus far? As far as I've heard from the people who are using it in breakdance, it's working seamlessly. It's just it's the early stages of the integration. So the entire framework should work just fine, but context menus, variable expansion and validation, features like that, color palette stuff, that's coming in a future update. Maybe in the 3.0 update, that stuff will be baked in. We'll see. It's just, our priority right now is 3.0 and getting 3.0 out the door to the masses. And the breakdance is not the masses right now. So it's if we can fit it in, we'll fit it in. If we can't fit it in, we're not going to hold 3.0 back waiting on that. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But if you're just using the framework in breakdance, it works just fine. Okay, let's see here. Michael, welcome. If it's your first time, say this is my first time on WDD Live. We're going to get started in just a minute. Kind of like to just say hi to everybody and let everybody arrive. David McCann is here. Welcome, David. All right. See any other? Got a lot of familiar faces as usual. Okay. Any idea for April Fools? Announce the discontinuation of ACSS. Yeah, we should plan something up big, right? I don't know. I've never done an April Fool's anything related to business. And at this point, it's just, I wake up on April Fools and I'm like, all right, let's see what people did. It's not like, it's not that exciting. A lot of it is very obvious stuff, So, I don't know. I've got bigger fish to fry, right? Than getting cute on April 1st, okay? Come on, Kevin Geary. I'm not ditching bricks for breakdance anytime soon. That was just a conversation with the #1 breakdancer, Ruben Garcia. Yeah. There are breakdance users, and they are growing. So it's always, it's good to have another builder, because we don't know, maybe Thomas is the next to shoot himself in the foot. We don't know. We don't know anymore. So it is good to have a couple other options. Okay, here's what we do on WDD Live. We do, it's kind of a variety show, honestly, but most of what we do is live web design critiques, in-depth critiques, focusing on everything that makes a website successful. So if you are a freelancer, if you are an agency owner, if you are a business owner, you can learn a lot from these streams, tuning in and learning about copy, learning about SEO, learning about the UX, the UI, good coding practices, accessibility. We talk about everything that makes the website successful. So, really, really good learning experience. Then what we do is whatever other random stuff we have planned. For example, today, we are going to walk through together a future change that I'm contemplating with automatic CSS. And I'm actually going to start doing this more on the ACSS channel, I think, as a regular thing, where when we're heavily considering something and we're trying different methodologies and practices and things like that and weighing pros and cons, I think it would be fun and it would be a good learning experience. It would be good transparency. It would be good for a lot of reasons to kind of do that stuff out loud on the automatic CSS channel. So you could come into a live stream where I'm, riffing back and forth on here's how we could implement this new feature. Here's another way we could go about it, and then get feedback from all of you. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to do a little bit of that today here and see how it goes. And then if people like it, look out for that on the ACSS YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the ACSS YouTube channel, highly recommend hopping over there, subscribing to that channel. Okay. Another announcement. The other thing we're going to do. Yeah, so we're a little bit of that, and then we'll do Q&A. We always do a little bit of Q&A and AMA, or even live, like, people ask, hey, how do I do X, Y, Z? And if it's easy, I can pull it up and we can actually do it live. So there's going to be an opportunity for some of that as well. Mark Szymanski this is a new little series we're going to be starting here on the YouTube channel, hopefully. We're recording session 1 tomorrow, and this is with Mark Szymanski. He's in the chat right now. He has a YouTube channel, up and coming YouTube channel, right? And what we're doing is we're starting a series that is basically, the theme is like a Elementor refugee, because Mark is coming from the Elementor world, right? And Mark has recently switched over to Bricks and automatic CSS, and okay? So that's the context. And it's like an Elementor refugee comes to Bricks and ACSS, the whole new workflow, class first workflow, using a framework, all this stuff. And he has a lot of questions. He's got a lot of like, walk me through a lot of this stuff, right? We're going to do that as a series. So for those of you who are, ex-Elementor users, ex-Divi users, ex-whatever chump builder user, okay? And what you're going to find is and Mark already sent me a list of stuff that he's contemplating. He's recorded a few videos. I've watched his videos, and I see common places where people get stuck, where people have questions, where people are like, what's the best way to go here? I mean, there's so many little pathways that we could take, right? And so we're just going to talk through all that stuff, and we're going to work it out like in a screen recording, okay? And I think this is going to be tremendously helpful for lots and lots and lots of people. So this will be kind of a new series that we're starting here. I think everybody is going to be, it's something people have asked me for a long time. I've thought about doing a pure beginner series where we bring on a pure web design beginner and kind of do this stuff with them. But I've done that privately before, and it's quite an experience. I mean, an hour you might be like on a basic hero, right? Because there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff you got to work through, right? But if we take somebody that actually has experience, just not an experience in this workflow, but web design experience, I think it's going to go a little bit faster, and it's going to help people make sense of things a little bit quicker, okay? All right, I guess you can if you have questions now, whatever, you can put them in, because if you hashtag them, hashtag Q or hashtag question, I will be able to search for them and pull them up when we get to Q&A. Okay, are you calling the series Trauma Bonding over Elementor? Hey, perhaps. We do need to find a good title. All right, well, with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the first review. Yeah, some people saying that series would be amazing. Yeah, I think it's going to be very, very, very helpful. All right, let's go ahead and pull up our first website. I'm going to get Ecamm going here. Okay, I've got some new controls on my Stream Deck. Hopefully all of this works the way it's supposed to. Here we go. Enviable Scapes. Okay, we're going to talk about that brand name in just a minute. I'm having some feelings. About the brand name right off the bat. Residential lawn care and maintenance services in Aurora, Castle Rock, Centennial, and Parker, Colorado. Let's make your yard enviable so you can relax and enjoy your weekend. Get your estimate. Call this number. Got a number in the header as well. Same call to action in the header. All right, we're doing our no scroll test. That's how we always start out, with a no scroll test. You can't scroll around. You've got to figure out what's going on from the hero section and the header. That's it, because that's all we can see. And in this case, it's fairly obvious. We've got a lawn care company. Says it right there. Okay, very literal headline. And then we have a little bit of a lead paragraph, which has this green kind of block background thing going on. And that's where we kind of are hitting on the main like benefit, right? Which is making your yard enviable so that you can relax and enjoy your weekend, kind of speaking to our target customer who doesn't want to be out in the yard doing this kind of work. They just want somebody to take care of it for them. So we're hitting, we're checking off some basic boxes right off the bat. I'm looking at the navigation. It looks fairly simple, very clear. These are our services. You can learn about us, you can contact us, or you can read our blog. Now, what I typically say is, I put the contact last, and I think, general UX principles is make things as familiar as possible. If you start trying to mix things up too much, with a simple nav, it's not too bad because, there's not a lot going on up here. It's not too difficult to figure it out. But traditionally, it would be like about, and then services, and then blog, and then contact. And, just keep things familiar. It's like, why mix it up if you don't have to mix it up? Then we have the phone number, which is good, and we have get your estimate, which is good. Let's see what happens. Okay, that actually opens the call. Okay, we're good. Video in the background. Some people are going to feel a certain way about that. I don't mind it too much in this case. It's a little shaky. It's a little shaky. I don't think, it'd be interesting to see if you have respecting people's motion preferences turned on for accessibility purposes here. That is one thing you have to keep in mind with autoplay background videos is people who do not want motion. That would be something to keep in mind. And you would want to replace that video with a static image. So it's a little bit of extra work. There's extra work involved when you try to put little cute stuff going on. Not to mention there's extra work on the performance side of things because now you're loading a video file back there versus like a highly optimized background image of some sort. And then you also have another, issue potentially with the overlay text and how dark is this video, like different light parts of the video. Like he's got kind of a dark overlay here, which is helping out things a lot. But I've seen plenty of situations where they don't use an overlay and light parts of the video wash out the text, which also makes it inaccessible, but is just not good at all. So anytime you're going to use, people ask me about background videos. I ask, did you charge extra for that? Because it's a lot of extra work. It's a lot of extra stuff you got to think about to get cute like that. And then, so like Sylvia says, too much motion and gets me a bit dizzy, especially when it's a shaky, like camera. Okay. Let's talk about this brand name because that stood out to me right away. Brands that put two words together and the two words share the last letter. My brain, now there's a little bit of a space in there, okay? But my brain still, the first time I read this, read it as enviable escapes, like using the E on the end of enviable as the beginning letter of the next word, because so many brands do that. And then I had to go backwards, retrace my steps and go, it's actually enviable scapes. But then I was like, that first word's a lot to chew on, right? Like enviable, like it's not an easy word, okay? And then you have a spelling thing because again, we're supposed to make our brand name like easy to spell, easy to say, easy to remember. There's a lot going on in this brand name right here. If I was consulting the client, I don't know if they're a brand new company or whatever, but this would have been part of the discussion that, hey, I don't know. Maybe we should reconsider this before we really, go all in, full send, right? I think that it presents a lot of problems. You're going to have problems with people not knowing how to spell this word. You're going to have pronunciation problems. You're going to have the enviable escapes instead of enviable scapes thing. The word scapes is just not, that's an industry term. I get it. I don't consider my yard to be a scape. Like it's not, I really want my scape out there to be super enviable. Like that's not, nobody talks like that. So it doesn't even connect with the target market really. It's just not a good name. It's not a good name. And so I would inform my client of that. before we get too far into this. Now, if they push back and they're like, my grandmother came up with that name, fuck you, like, okay, whatever, dog, like, do what you do, right? But, it is what it is at that point, but at least inform them, at least make them aware that not such a good idea. Probably might want to simplify that a little bit. Okay, that's all I will say about that. Let's go ahead and scroll down. Oh, what do we think of this green block? I'm not hype on this green block right here. It looks like it stands out a little bit. It's like it's by standing out, I mean not in a great way. It's got it's an odd shaped container too. I think it's supposed to seem like a cutout, like piece of paper or something. I don't know what it's supposed to be. But it's a little not fantastic. All right, let's go down. Taking care of your yard can be challenging. We certainly understand that. Okay, I will say this. Like, this is a waste of, don't put these things on 2 lines. A second line is for another substantial amount of text, like a full sentence, okay? Not like a continuation of the thing I just read. You could easily just make make that one heading, right? Or, just say taking care of your yard can be challenging. You don't need this line. This line is a waste of space. And it looks like it's just it's like a little orphan sentence just floating around. Like, what are you doing here? That meme of that guy that's just like lounging around? Like, I can't remember how it goes, but you probably know the meme I'm talking about. That's this sentence right here. He's just here. Okay. The yard of a busy family that needs our help. Hold on. Oh, now I'm confused. Wait a minute. All right. Taking care of your yard can be challenging. The yard of a busy family that needs our help. This narrative is not continuing. This is not a continuation of what I'm reading here. You're starting a whole new idea. And then I thought in my mind we were about to look at service cards or something. I thought these were going to be service cards. But they're actually, because I saw a call to action down here. This is weird because these are like case studies, but that button doesn't even do anything. Okay. We got to do something with that button. But why doesn't this one have a button? Right? They both need buttons, or they both don't need buttons. Whichever one, but having one with a button and one without a button is not fantastic. So we got to improve that. Oh, wait, no, now I'm putting 2 and 2 together. This is, okay, now I'm reading the ribbon. This is a before shot. This is the after shot. But, dog, you've made this look like 2 different things. In my mind, these were 2 different little case studies going on here because they're separated, right? And so the UX is saying, visually, these are 2 separate things, but really they're the same thing. And so you see how UX stuff is important to not generate confusion. And this is an area where we didn't even need confusion. It just was presented to us in a confusing manner. So this could be a slider thing where it's like, you slide back and forth between the before and the after. You could use that kind of situation, though it's very hard to make those accessible. You could just put the before and the after side by side, and like all you needed was a different headline. You need a different headline here. And this is not the headline for a case studies section, okay? This is the headline for we're about to talk about our services. Like, taking care of your yard can be challenging. That's why we are going to do it. And here's what we do as our list. That's like the narrative, right? This stuff is all different. So we would have a different section with a different heading that speaks to projects, and it would be literal. It would be like, let's take a look at one of our example clients, right? Or customers. Here's what we did before. Here's what we did after. The 2 things are side by side. So it's very clear what's going on with the before after situation. Put a little blurb below it with a call to action. Now, no confusion. Everybody knows what's going on. All right. So I think this section needs a lot of work. And this is the second section on the page. So I went from, okay, I'm confident. I know what's going on here. I know what this business does. I know what they provide. And then bam, confusion. All right, what's going on now? I don't know where I'm at. I don't know how to interpret all this stuff. Okay, so now I got to keep going. Here's the landscaping services that we offer. And here's the double thing. Again, we're just wasting space with it. This needs to be more, you can build more content in right here, right? This is kind of a lazy way to do a lead paragraph. You're not adding any value. Like landscaping services we offer, services that make your landscape look awesome. Like this is, very, very, very basic copy. It's not really getting the job done there. Okay, we've got lawn mowing, property cleanup, lawn fertilization. I'm not convinced that the yellow on the green is accessible. Might want to check that. What just happened? Let's refresh. I don't know. My hovers stopped working. Oh dear. Okay, now something has. Oh, you know what? What is going on here? You got something going on in this section. What is going on? Okay, let's go to a different section. Our hovers working. Okay, yep, they're working. No, now they're working again. I don't know what happened, but we lost hovers for a second. Now I am screen sharing. Sometimes it's weird. Sometimes I'll look at a video after I'm done and things were happening that I actually couldn't see when it was happening live. So maybe those were still hovering. You could see it and I couldn't see it. I don't know. But the hovers were not working for a second there. Okay, lawn mowing, we do up to 36 cuts per year. Our team is always on schedule. Comprehensive property cleanup services, thorough removal of debris and clutter. Lawn fertilization, customized lawn fertilization plans promoting lush and healthy greenery. Lawn aeration, professional aeration to enhance soil health, promoting better nutrient absorption. Okay, let's talk about this copy. This lawn aeration right here is a really good example of this. Again, it's really good in your mind when you're writing copy to just assume everybody is they have no idea what you do or why you do it, or like everything has to be explained to them. And it's talking about benefits more than features, right? So lawn aeration, we have a big word, aeration. And there's just going to be a lot of people that don't know what aeration is. Or maybe they know, oh, that's that thing where you go and you put holes in my lawn, okay? But they don't know why that's done necessarily, or why that's beneficial, or why it should be done or needs to be done. So where are you going to tell them what this is for, right? Well, you got 2 bullet points right here, which I'd like to see 3. I think, at least to my brain, 2 is a little odd. I'd like to see 3 under each one. But this is an opportunity for you to get started on the right. Tell them right now. But the question is, should they have to click on it to figure out what it is? Or should you just tell them in the text you've already put here? Well, I would always say, just tell them in the text you've already put here. So if I have a question in my mind, what is lawn aeration or why does that matter? Professional aeration. Okay, you just said the same thing again. Lawn aeration, professional aeration. So we're just wasting words, right? Because I just read that here. I don't need to read it again. To enhance soil health. That's an industry thing. It's like, oh, we're enhancing the health of your soil. The fuck does that mean, dude? Like, just tell me why? Oh, well, when we do this, your grass is going to grow back faster, meaner, taller, whatever. Like, give me a result, right? There's no result from like soil health. Why do I care how healthy the soil, like what does it do differently? What is going to be the outcome of this thing? That's what we got to touch on. Nobody cares about soil health. Nobody cares about better nutrient absorption. Like, yes, okay, better nutrient absorption then does what? Just give them the what, right? What is going to happen next, right? Just tell them flat out what's going to happen, and instantly you've written better copy, right? Get rid of all the middle stuff and just give them the end. Mulch installation, okay. Seasonal pruning, great. All right, so we need to clean these cards up just a little bit with our copy. Our team is, like the team always on schedule thing is not a feature of lawn mowing, right? That's a feature of your company. So we're going to have service features and benefits. Then there's going to be a part where we talk about company feature and benefits and, mission and values and all that stuff. This is the kind of thing that goes over there. So keep these things to services and not to the company in general is a good rule of thumb there. Let's see what getting our none of these buttons work. None of these buttons are linked up. Okay, so that's something to check on. This is a live site, by the way. So you need the buttons working on the live sites. We are inspired by happy clients every day. Okay, good. This is a good little clean testimonial section. Okay, scrollable, fine. Doesn't appear to be accessible because I can't select it with the keyboard. I can't navigate it with the keyboard. I can't. And this looks like a plugin. This is like you got a review plugin. You threw it in. They had this thing out of the box, but of course the developer's a slouch, so it's not accessible. And yeah, this is the common scenario that we run into over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. No, I don't know. Let's see. What plugin is this? Yeah, G review card. This could be like custom done. I don't know. I would gather that it's a plugin. It feels a little plugin-y, but I'm not sure. Because a lot of people like to pull from Google automatically, right? They're like, let's just pull in those reviews automatically. Now that I'm looking at it again, though, I don't know that that's the case. Let's see. That's a fake photo right there. I'll tell you this right here. Guys, I know stock photos when I see them, right? You can't get one past me, dog. This Benjamin Stratton, that ain't Benjamin Stratton right there. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, and that's not Isabella, okay? No, that's for sure is not Alexander Thorne. Okay, I got you. All right, we got a little fake testimonial section here. Let's not do the fake testimonial section thing. You pull real, and then we can go to enviable escapes. Let's go to Google, and then go enviable escape. Oh, see, I did it again. I wanted to write scapes. Let's throw an E on there. That always helps. Where did their GMB go? Womp womp. Right? Where's the GMB at? They don't have a GMB? Okay, we need a little GMB. We need some reviews. All right, let's keep going. All right, we promise to maintain our service standards for you. All right, satisfaction guarantee, fully licensed and insured. I'm noticing now these don't have any links in them, which is why I couldn't select them, but I could probably select them with Apple VoiceOver if I went back and did it. But what we do need is you got to have controls on these sliders. There's got to be arrows or dots or whatever to control these sliders. That's really the main problem. See, even if I can't select a card, I would be able to select arrows if we had the arrows. So even in Bricks, right? Bricks gives you one of these sliders. Frames gives you one of these sliders. But they all come with controls. You have to make sure you include the controls. That's what makes this navigatable with the keyboard, right? When you remove those controls, we're SOL on the accessibility side of things. Okay, here is the part where we're selling the company. Like, choose our company, don't choose other people. Satisfaction guaranteed. Listen to how boring these are. Fully licensed and insured. I mean, you got to say that to say it, I guess, whatever. Always on time service. Same technician every visit. Okay, let's set that one aside. Quality workmanship. Friendly communication. Okay. Basically, what this is saying is we do nothing unique. There is nothing unique about us. So, choose us if you want, but it's like there's not a lot of convincing that we can do here because we're like everybody else. If this is what your kind of like sell the company thing is going to be, like, just don't even put it. Let people have an imagination at that point. Like, because you're basically just confirming that, we don't really do anything different here. Because satisfaction guaranteed, everybody says that, right? Everybody is probably licensed and insured in this local area. They're always going to claim to be on time too, by the way. Now, whether they actually are on time, different story. But guess what? If they're late to a job, they're not going to be like, boss, you're going to have to change that notice on the website. I mean, we were late today. So, we can't be saying that. Ain't nobody in the company is going to do that. Okay. So it's just meaningless. It just means nothing. People know it means nothing. Same technician every visit is the only one that perhaps has some value. If there's a situation in the industry where every time somebody new shows up and you got to constantly be like, is this new person going to do the job right? I don't know. But if you got the same guy or same crew coming every time, I think there is a good benefit in that. And if all your competitors don't do that, like they're just sending random crews out every time, this is actually a thing that sets you apart. Okay. And that actually has some value here. Quality workmanship. I mean, who's going to be like, nah, I mean, we do average workmanship here. Like everybody says it. And we've gone over this before. If everybody says it, and this is a conversation you have to have with your client. I'm not even really talking to the web designer at this point necessarily. This is what clients would write. If you said, Bev, we need to know what the selling points of the company are. We all know who Bev is, right? This is the copy Bev will give you. And Bev is boring as shit. I mean, she knows everything, but she's also boring as shit, right? So quality workmanship, friendly community, every company says that. And if everybody says it, it doesn't mean anything. It has no value. Don't even bother, right? Say something, find something important to say here. What does legitimately set you apart? There's got to be, and you think about like, oh, it's just a landscaping company, Kevin. Well, we're just web design. I mean, you got to see, what are these other companies, these other landscape companies doing wrong? What do clients hate about them? Okay, fix those things, and then those become your selling points. You've got to do something different, though. You can't just, they cut lawns, they cut lawns, they cut lawns, we cut lawns, we're all cutting lawns. Choose one of us. That's basically what's going on here. There's no reason being given to really be like, this is the one. This is the one. Okay, frequently asked questions. All right, okay. Speed that up. I'd rather not. We got to wait 3 business days to read every FAQ here. So we got to speed up that animation. Can we, where's our tab navigation? I can't tab navigate through my FAQs. All right, so we've got some improving to do there. Womp, womp. Oh, no. There you go. No. Got a little Kevin Hart action. Okay. Ready to make your yard look amazing. All right, it's not a bad ending call to action. Yes, I'm ready. Unfortunately, even though I am ready, we've got some issues here with our colors too going on when I click that button. I'm ready, but the site's not ready. I'm ready. Site's not ready. So let's get that improved. I really wanted to see can I get it up here? Nope. I really wanted to see the checkout process and see what the get your estimate kind of thing. Yeah, none of these work. It says get your estimate. I wonder if it's just /estimate. Negative. Okay. Well, I think there's a contact page. Yeah, I wonder if this is probably not this better not be the estimate page. It's just a regular contact page. Okay, let's go to about. We're almost done with this one. We can wrap this one up. This is the thing though, like you're hired to build a landscaping company website. I really want to encourage people, don't just go in and say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, Bev. Yes, sir. Okay, we'll do that. Yep. You've got to inject your consulting into this. You got to say, like, the first conversation I have is like, all right, well, we don't want to build, the same old landscaping website. Like, we want to know, and we've talked about this in discovery. Like, we go through a whole discovery thing of like, what makes your company stand out? Tell me about your services. How do you guys cut lawns that's different from everybody else? Like, I really don't want to create a website where we just say you're the same as everybody else. So what do you guys do differently that we can talk about that's relevant? And then a lot of the times they'll be like, we cut lawns. Like, they don't even know. They're just like, they just threw their hat in the ring. Ooh, look at all these lawn care companies. Let's just throw our hat in the ring too. But there's no thought about like how to do it better, how to do it different, how to be unique, how to do this, there's just no thought. And you have to break it to a company and be like, guys, like, if you want to market a business, we have to have something to say. And if you're just like everybody else, we don't have anything to say. So we can't do marketing. Now we can do the Me Too marketing. We can do like, oh, hey, yeah, me too. We do this. but that's expensive. It's not particularly it doesn't work well. It's boring. It's annoying to do that kind of work. So, this is where you can really step in and be a business consultant on top of being a web design consultant and just inject a lot more value into what's going on with these companies. Because they are, very localized companies. They may not have a lot of business experience. They really value this kind of insight. And you could be the difference between them just being another one or being a standout business. You want your clients to be a standout business. And that's really required if you're going to dominate a local area and not just be another option. All right, I think we've done enough here. Let's get on to site number 2. All right, this is going to be Zal Strength. We're going to check this out in just a second. I want to go back to chat and see what we've got going on in the chat. Okay. Site looks thrown together. The elements do not feel cohesive. Yeah, I think it could help from a designer, have a designer actually, put eyes on this and clean some stuff up. And there's colors kind of all over, like yellows and greens and black borders on buttons. And it's kind of the typical, a developer designed it. That's what it looks like. It looks like somebody who does development designed the site. And that's rarely what you want the situation to be. You want a designer to design it. You want a developer to develop it. And then there's unicorns who can do both. But that is clearly, developer who did the design kind of situation. All right. They could even add a guarantee that if they mess up, the next cut is on them. Yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff that you could do. I never see "we won't mess up your shit" on landscape companies. That is my common complaint. Good workers, but often destroy landscapes by overcutting, etc. I'd hire you if I saw that. Yeah, let's say you even if you kind of do what everybody else does, because maybe it's a situation where it's like, dude, it's a lawnmower. Lawnmowers cut grass. Okay, we're not out there with scissors. This isn't like artisan lawn mowing here, okay? So then just talk different. Quit with all the corporate babble bullshit and use actual plain language and talk to them like a real person. Talk to them like they're your friend or whatever. Use curse words. Do whatever makes you stand out. Just quit being like everybody else, okay? That's number one in all marketing and all business. Just quit being like everybody else. Quit saying what everybody else says. If you're not going to do something uniquely different, at least talk different or something. Just don't come in and be like, yeah, I'm another one. I'm another one of those guys. It's so boring. It's a waste of everybody's time. All right, Zal Strength. No scroll test. Online powerlifting coaching. So this is a very literal headline, tells us exactly what's going on right away. With the help of our coaches, you can achieve strength levels you never thought you were capable of. Okay, we'll talk about that more in a second. Coaching services, contact. So we got 2 calls to action here. I'm not sold on these 2 options. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Then we have a very clean, very simple navigation up top. No drop downs going on, no mega menus. No, it's just, look, this is the stuff right here. This is where you can go. All right. Well, we know where we're at. We're at an online powerlifting coaching website. So the no scroll test has been passed because we know exactly what's going on. The one thing we don't really know, there is one thing we don't really know based on no scroll, is who this is for. Is it for that guy right there? That guy don't look anything like me. Okay. If I am kind of new, let's say I do want to get into powerlifting, right? First thing I would want to know, if you look like me versus that guy, is this for elite powerlifters or is this for me? So I need to know who the target market is here. And then we can decide if this is, I don't know, because achieve strength levels you never thought you were capable of. I think this guy feels like he's capable of some more things, So that copy doesn't really speak to this guy necessarily. I think this kind of speaks to more of the layman, which now you're going to have to make sure the layman is comfortable, right, with what they're seeing here. And I don't know, like, you know, because some people will be like, this looks too advanced for me. You don't want people to self-exclude when like that's the actual person you want to reach, right? So you got to make sure that that doesn't happen. Let's go down and see what our services are. One-on-one powerlifting coaching, training app, coaching mentorship. All right, we got 3 different options here. We got learn more, sign up, learn more. All right. Okay, testimonials, little carousel here. I can drag it. I can bullet navigate it. Can I keyboard navigate it? I cannot keyboard navigate it. I don't think. Oh, I can. I just don't. There's no indication that it was selected. Oh, I see. You guys see that little border right there? Okay. We got to make that a little bit more obvious. But now I can go left and right. Okay. And then tab. Now I'm down here in this form. All right. A little bit of improvement there to be done. All right. What was I going to say about this double CTA section here? If I first arrive on the site, there's really 2 options. Is it my first time visiting? And if it is, we need an option for that person. And then if I'm a return visitor, we need a more aggressive call to action. So the coaching services thing is a call to action designed for people who are not first-time visitors. They are re-arriving on the website. That's the only people who would click that button. Nobody is going to arrive for the very first time and be like, yep, I want to go right to services, right? Unless they were referred to the site by somebody else, they might do that. Like, so they've been pre-sold, okay? So that's, I guess, another bucket that they could be in. Now, if I'm a first-time visitor, and a first-time visitor typically wants to explore a little bit, wants to read a little bit, wants to consume a little bit before they make any sort of action towards conversion. So what you're basically saying is coaching services or contact, a first-time visitor doesn't want to do either of those things. So you've kind of excluded the first-time visitor with no options for them, right? What could this be? I mean, this could be you've got blog content, you've got a free program. Maybe the first-time visitor wants to check out a free program, okay? You could have more information on, like, I think this homepage is a little bit sparse on, like, can I get more context? It's like, talk to me. What's the narrative? What's the story? What am I going to buy into here besides the, like, literal buying into things like services? That's all you've really given me is services and testimonials. There's no story. There's no narrative. There's no mission. There's nothing for me to latch onto as a first-time visitor. So I think we need to add a section in here of content, an intro of some sort. Put a little blurb with a video right here. Make this a video. Do something to give us more to chew on before we're asked to raise our hand and sign up for things, right? That would be a big improvement to this homepage. And then if that's all we're going to give them, if there's really nothing else to link to here, just drop one of these. Just make coaching services the only option. Then they can just scroll past it. But, like, you've given 2 options and neither one are for a first-time visitor. It's just, I don't know. Improvements to be made. Let's click on coaching. Actually, let's click on about. This is why I like about to be over here. This is the narrative of, like, you have to go in order. It's like, hey, here's what we're doing here. Here's our mission. Here's why we exist. Now let's talk about how you can be involved in that. See how that goes in order? What you're doing here is you're putting all the context at the end, and you're starting with the thing, And so it's a little aggressive. Okay, what does it mean to be strong for life? Strong for life means that, hey, we're getting into some shit right here, okay? And we're about to see. I'm just going to guess that, once again, we've buried the lead, okay? We talk about that all the time. What does it mean to be strong for life? Strong for life means that no matter the obstacles life throws at you, you have the skills, resources, and psychological and physical strength to adapt and persevere. With the help of our experienced coaches, you too can develop strength for life. What we believe: a community that prioritizes the growth and development of athletes as individuals alongside their development as athletes. Our coaches believe the importance of applying the biopsychosocial model as a foundation for athletes to build upon their journey towards strength and success. Okay, we got Jim, we got Tyson, and then we can learn more. Okay, this page is off to the right start. I would like to see this go a little bit deeper and say things that are there wasn't a lot that I really would just like hyper connect with there. We've got to really sit down and figure out, why do people really get into powerlifting? You know, because there's like people who want to just be fit and go to the gym and, you know, that satisfies them. But like, this is another whole segment of people, right? A cohort, if you will. And so we need to really dig in. I mean, I would just start every person that they have worked with. I would literally reach out to them and be like, what caused you to go from like just, maybe it was you were an athlete, maybe you were just fit and healthy, but what made you take the leap to go to powerlifting? And what do you get out of powerlifting that you didn't get out of those other things that are just normal fitness, health type activities? And then you've got to collect as many of those responses as you can, and you've got to look for the overlaps, right? And you'll hone in on like 3 to 5 things that get said over and over and over again. Those are the things you got to hit on. Help people understand why people make this transition into powerlifting. And then explain what is going to happen to them once they get into it. CrossFit. The reason CrossFit went like wildfire, right, is because they there's this lifestyle around it, and so many people talking about, oh, hold on, I know you've gone to the gym before, but there's this thing over here that you ain't never tried, and here's what you're going to get out of it. And they had very specific, like, this is what we do, we do it very differently, this is what you're going to get out of it, and bang, there you go. And now it spreads like wildfire. We need some of that in this website right here. Why powerlifting versus other things? Being strong for life. I mean, okay, it's like, you know, I guess a little philosophical, whatever. But there's not enough to really chew on. I need more to really chew on. Okay. Training app, free program. Let's check out our free program. The Zao Strength Bottom-Up Powerlifting Program. Okay. This program was designed to help beginner and intermediate powerlifters learn how to make effective training adjustments to reach their goals. Effectively, bottom-up training means that your training is developed based on your current skill, experience level, training preferences, and limitations. Then as you train, you'll discover what you respond best to, and the program will help develop based on that response by starting at the bottom and working your way up. Okay. All right. Not bad. It's got some like, I would take the date off. Okay, let's drop the date. I like the bottom up concept because it's not something I've heard before, and it sounds like it makes sense, and it sounds like it's reasonable, and it sounds like it's designed, like somebody put thought and effort into it, right? You know, if it just said, "Hey, free program, go ahead, sign up," like, you know, they kind of branded it, they gave it a name, like the name is Blue. It's like, you know, they've put some work and thought into that. So I like what's going on this page for the most part. I mean, it's a very simple landing page. I would move this contact form up here next to the image. Like, let's put that, the ability to actually fill out the thing and get the thing, like at the top of the page so that people don't have to scroll all the way down. Now, if it's a sales page, you know, we're going to make them scroll all the way down because, like, you got to read stuff. You got to, I really want to make sure you're bought in before you sign up for this thing. There's not a lot of content going on here, right? We're just trying to get the emails. Let's put that at the top. I think you'll boost the conversion rate on that page. I would drop the author off of here as well. That's that. That page is fine. Training app. Okay. Oh, there's a lot going on here. All right. I'm not going to get into all this stuff. I mean, it looks well designed. It looks like, thought put into the cards. I think there's a little bit of confusion here, maybe. This is about blocks. Block 1, pivot 1, block 2. Got a little bit of insider. If I'm just like, I don't know what's going on here, and I'm just kind of browsing through, I don't really know what any of that means down there. I don't know if I'm supposed to know what it means or not supposed to know what it means. All right, we got an app, how it works. Okay. Browse, join the team, payment setup, download app, add a program, get results. I don't know if that doesn't necessarily sound like it's for a beginner, but you do have the free program. Okay. And I am just poking around real fast. I'm not really spending a ton of time digesting. Okay. And then our coaching options. So we got powerlifting coaching. We have coaching mentorship. I really want to hit on this because, there's a lot of improvement that can often be done in like how we're presenting the services and what services we're presenting. One-on-one powerlifting coaching. Okay. Maximize your strength potential. Okay. Custom programming. Then we have the training app. If you're self-coached. Okay. Aha. See this? Okay. Coaching mentorship. 12-week hands-on coaching mentorship designed to take your skills to the next level. You will learn. I would probably call these different things because, again, like the training app is self-coached, right? So you could think of the options as like, and it probably maps to how you're going to bucket these people, but it could be self-coached. Here's your self-coached option that we have for you. Here's our beginner, like one-to-one coaching option. And then and this is like a, maybe a month-to-month kind of, maybe one-to-one is month-to-month. I don't know. Because this one right here is a 12-week. Like that's a commitment, right? So then it could be like 12-week program. So there's like one-on-one custom 12-week program and then self-coached, right? So, because when you're reading this one-on-one power, then I read training app. The word training app does not give me any context within this menu of options, right? And then I don't know by reading the headline how one-on-one powerlifting is different from a mentorship. To me, it's one-on-one. That's like that's a mentorship. Like that's the same thing. So I would improve these headlines right here of what you're calling these services. All right, let's go to the actual coaching because now I go here and I see different things. Here's the mentorship again. But now I see powerlifting coach. Is this the one-on-one that you were talking about a minute ago? So there's a little bit of lack of cohesiveness in how you're naming and talking about these things. And I know it makes perfect sense to you because you're in it every day and you designed all the stuff. But like I'm showing you the confusion that an outside person is going to have in trying to make a decision on all of these things. $230 a month. $275 a month. Those are very close in price. Did we see how much the app costs? Is that free? Is the app free? Oh, monthly price. $39.99. Annual price, $300. 14 days free. Okay. All right. Okay. There's definitely stuff to improve here on like the actual services, what they're called, probably what they're priced, how they're structured. Just at a glance. Let's go to the blog. Let's see if this kind of business relies heavily on content marketing, heavily on, SEO can really, really, really help a business like this. So I want to spend the last little bit of this. Really a pity this photo doesn't use transparency properly. You're talking about this one right here? I don't know. I'll get to comments in just a second. What is different site, Kevin Geary? What does that mean? Okay. See, I just want to check our chat here, make sure we're all on the same page. And I will come and read these in just a second. Okay. All right. Awesome. Let's keep going. So I wanted to spend the last little bit of this digging into what are they doing with content marketing? What are they doing with SEO? Because that is a make or break part of an online coaching business like this. The app page is a different site. Zao Strength. It's just it's a subdomain, but yeah. I see. Okay. Managing training expectations with auto-regulation and psychological flexibility. Okay, let's just go over this so everybody's on the same page of how a blog should work on the internet in 2024. There are pure SEO articles. All right. And I explained this. I'm not going to go find it. I did a whole write-up on this in the Inner Circle, which I think is really, really, really helpful for a lot of people to read. You can go pure SEO, which is basically like we find a search query and we answer it with content. Very classic SEO content marketing, right? Then there is content where we're just putting our ideas out into the world, and there's really, I don't care if it ranks. It's not targeting anything in terms of SEO. And usually what you'll see with those kinds of posts is there's a lot more personality in them. There is, where the SEO, pure SEO stuff is a little bit more academic. It could be stuff that's much more shareable. And so there's a couple different goals you can have with your content. One goal, obviously, is I want it to rank. I want to rank number one, and I want to get all that search traffic. Another goal could be I want it to be shared very widely. I want to say something that's super valuable or super controversial or super this or super that. And immediately when people read it, they're like, I just got to share this. Like, other people have to read this, right? So you can go for shareability. You can go for rankability. And then there's the holy grail, which is like you nailed the shareability and you nailed the rankability all in the same piece of content. So when we grade blogs like this, we're looking kind of like, where does this land? Is this obviously going for an SEO thing? Or is this obviously going for a shareability thing? Here's the thing. Or is it the unicorn that achieved both? Sometimes there's a fourth option. What's the fourth option? It didn't hit any of these. It's boring. It's not shareable. It's not hitting anything in terms of SEO. So it's a fucking waste. It's a waste of time. Don't write that. Don't spend your time writing that, okay? That's kind of how I grade or evaluate like blogs and then YouTube channels and things like that, right? Okay, so let's click on this one. Managing training expectations with auto-regulation and psychological flexibility. Already off the bat, it feels very academic-y, right? It feels very academic. I'm gathering that there's nothing going on here with SEO. But then I'm also like, it feels a little bit, unless your brand is like, you're the fucking scientist of this genre, right? And people expect that from you, then maybe that kind of thing will work. But I still think this headline could be improved. The impact of training expectations. Another thing we look for is formatting, okay? Check this formatting out. Not bad on the formatting. Small paragraphs, easily digestible. One thing I would say is a little bit of a problem here is the width of this. And this is where, we come in with, talk about character widths and the average character width and things like that. I think you'd be much better off. Now we have to center this, okay? It's now off to the left a little bit. And maybe we can just pop a margin inline on here, and it depends on how this is set up. Yeah, I mean, we're going to lose the top up here. But this kind of column of text is much easier to read, right? And then you could do different things with like breakouts. Content grid is fantastic for this kind of stuff. But here is the big problem that I'm not seeing. Here, you know what I'm not seeing? And this already tells me we're not checking SEO boxes, right? I'm not seeing any bullets. I'm not seeing any bold. I'm not seeing any links. There's no external links. There's no internal links. So there's a lot of box. There's no images. There's no videos. There's a lot of SEO boxes not being checked here. But then these are also just general like UX article user experience boxes. Very, very few people. You've got to be like fucking obsessed with powerlifting, right? To read, this is like I'm back in college, It's like, thankfully the paragraphs are kind of short, so it's a little bit more palatable. But you're asking people to read very far left or right. Scannability is a big problem with wide text. Okay. And then there's just not any visual interest. There's no images for me to latch onto. There's no videos for me to watch that are supporting. There's no links to things. There's no bold lists, nothing, right? It's just heading, paragraph. Okay. So we can improve the readability for sure by adding a lot more formatting stuff into these posts. Okay, here's a much better article concept, right? The new IPF bench press rules may kill the sport of powerlifting. Now, kind of, okay. Everything is dead on the internet. I don't know if you guys knew this. Like SEO died 7,000 times. PPC, Facebook ads, these things have died, 42 million times now. Websites, this version of web design, WordPress. I mean, my God, how many times have we put WordPress in a grave? So many times, not me, but other people, right? So, kill the sport of power like this a little bit a little bit outlandish. Okay. So, but at least it's like, hey, take notice. Right? You may want to read this. Okay. It does kind of draw people in here. Okay. But still, we got some spacing issues, right? Some spacing issues going on here. Feels like heading into another heading, form a giant gap right here. Oh, what is this? What is this? Just a blank paragraph. Yeah, not a lot to chew on in terms of the formatting. So this is suffering from a lack of formatting right now. It could be great content. We're not going to sit here and read it and grade the actual content, but I'm just talking about from a formatting and UX perspective. There's a lot of formatting work to do. And I'm telling you right now, if you have really good content, people won't know if your formatting sucks or is boring because they won't read it. You can make people read the content by just great formatting stuff. So I would say to definitely take the time to improve that. Some people, I'm not saying that's going on with this website, but a lot of people do have the like, well, my content's just so fucking good that I can format it however I want. Like, no, you still need to put in the work to really format it. I don't see anything obviously SEO here, right? How to recover from pain and return to competition. This could potentially be a little bit SEO related. See, this one has like some giant block quotes in it to break things up a little bit and at least create a little bit of visual interest. More of that kind of stuff. But how to recover from pain and return to competition. Fails on the SEO front because there's nothing specific here, right? SEO is about specificity. And when you have how to recover from pain, okay, we're in the powerlifting context, but the phrase how to recover from pain applies to a gazillion different contexts. So from an SEO perspective, it's dead in the water right there because there's nothing specific in this. Now you would say, well, and return to competition. That's the specific part. That's not specific to powerlifting. And now I'll kind of explain it like this. If Google doesn't know exactly what you're talking about, they're not ranking you. You're done. They don't know where to put you. They can't even rank. They can't rank it. They don't know. They don't know what it's about. Now you're like, well, I mean, we talk about powerlifting on all this other content. Okay. The headline is super important. Then you're going to have, click-through type stuff. What's the title? What's the title of this page? How to recover from pain and return to competition. So you're not calling out powerlifters. We're not talking about powerlifting. It's like powerlifting's not even mentioned. This is dead in the water from an SEO perspective. So now we could do, you could go to Ahrefs here, and we're going to get out of here in just a second and move on to our second segment because I think we've done enough here with this particular website. But I would do something like powerlifting pain, and I would do something like powerlifting recovery, right? And we would do a search here. So now I'm just showing you like what an approach might look like. One keyword is not indexed. Okay, we're just going to do matching terms anyway. I don't really care. Okay, is powerlifting one word or two? Powerlifting versus powerlifting. Okay, powerlifting versus weightlifting, pros and cons, powerlifting. Should I powerlift? It looks like one word is the predominant usage here. Okay, so powerlifting, let's just simplify this. Powerlifting recovery. Just tackle one thing. Okay, not a lot there. Powerlifting pain. Not a lot there. Let's go with powerlifting. Okay, let's start from scratch. Okay, here we go. Now we see. All right, let's see what some options might be. Ooh, if you're e-com, powerlifting shoes, powerlifting belt. So if you're gonna have an e-com extension to this kind of thing, there's some stuff. Powerlifting singlet, powerlifting versus bodybuilding. Okay. Low competition, it seems at first glance. Good volume, good traffic potential. I would absolutely. I mean, so we can go. Here's how you can tell. Like, has a site done their SEO homework? Has a site, where do they stand? Okay, so now we go back to our client. We go zowstrength.com. We go to the Googles. All right, you put in site zowstrength.com, and then you do powerlifting verse, let me make sure I spell it right so we're grading fairly. All right. 0 results. So we have not published an article on what is the most obvious, if you're doing SEO research, the most obvious first article or first piece of content to publish, right? Because it's like, man, I got good traffic potential. I've got what appears at first glance to be fairly low competition. We could take this exact phrase and go search for it and see who's coming up. Okay, Healthline, NASM, they're going to be hard to beat. Reddit's in there. But this is still content that you want, your opinion on, right? You want to put in, because there maybe not everybody says the same thing about this stuff. Throw your hat in the ring with this. There's a kind of a alpha progression. I don't know how big they are. Bar bend, tough wraps. This is a case where I'll just tell you right off the bat where Ahrefs is dead wrong, okay? This KD score right here, dead wrong. This is not a 6, okay? And we can actually look at this in this chart right here. Let's take a little bit of time. Like, I think people get value out of this kind of content, right? You see these lines at the top? This is the position history for the top, what appears to be 3 or 4 results here. They are effectively locked in, okay? You're not beating. This is the last 2 years of data. The same site, blue, orange, green, and there's another darker green in there too. Yeah, those 4 sites right there. Healthline, PowerDot, Very Well Fit, Bodybuilding, you're not beating them. You are not going to be in the top 4, no matter what you do. I don't care how well you SEO optimize. I don't care how many backlinks you buy. You're not beating those 4 right here. Nobody's beat them the last 2 years, okay? They are locked in. But look at these. See these big streaks of like people coming in from out of nowhere into the spots and then sometimes falling back off? That is a signal that there is room in the top 10, okay? So you could rank 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You could rank, and that will get you traffic. That is a valuable spot to rank in for this kind of thing. So that tells me, they're not all locked in. So I would definitely go after it. But what I do know for sure is this is not a fucking 6 easy Ahrefs, okay? This number is wildly out of control, okay? This is nowhere near a 6. But it's not impossible. So you write good content, you do all the right stuff, you could be in the bottom here. But you're on page 1, that's good. So that's kind of how you would further analyze a keyword like this. And then I'm also looking at the kind of content. Look at this, article. No YouTube. I don't see any YouTube listings right off the bat. Here's what I would do. I would write the article, immediately go record a video on it. Then I would embed the video in the article. I'd link the article to the video. Okay. So I would hit on the YouTube side of this 100% as well to try to help out. Okay. So this is how you start this kind of like strategy and analysis for content. Let's keep going and see if we find one more viable option here. Now, let's just talk one more layer to this, okay? So if you're thinking in terms of SEO, you can also think in terms of shareability, right? So what if you go, and here's how you break into the top spots. This is the difference between position 10 and position 5. Because we know we're not getting 1 through 4. 1 through 4 is on lockdown by corporate America, okay? We're not getting them. But we might get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How do I get 5 versus 10? Here's how you get 5 versus 10. You take powerlifting versus bodybuilding. Now, I'm not saying this is the case, but let's say there's a controversial debate about like powerlifting versus bodybuilding, okay? So you do as your title to your headline, you come in here and go powerlifting versus bodybuilding. So you just put the root keyword right there in the start of the title. And then you go some controversial shit. Okay. Right here. Goes here. Okay. So there's an extension of this headline that baits people, right, into like, oh, what the fuck's this guy saying now, right? And then if you actually say something valuable and important and different within the article, guess what happens? People go, oh, I got to share this. This guy's dead on right here. Then they go share it. And then the shareability creates backlinks, so you don't go buy backlinks. Fuck buying backlinks. If you're buying backlinks because you don't know how to do SEO. All right, so you get the shareability going, which gets the backlinks going, which then gets the rankings going. That's the difference between ranking 10 for an academic-y type version of this article versus combining the shareability strategy with the actual SEO strategy of ranking, okay? Can't do that with every article. Now, if legitimately you're like, no, I mean, this is just going to be an academic article. There's not anything super like, crazy to say here. It just is what it is. All right, well, just write it then. Write it the way you think it should be written, and, we'll see where we end up. But sometimes there are ways to maximize shareability in articles like that. And if you find them, you got to take them. You got to go after them. All right, let's come down with, let's see, powerlifting meets. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything super exciting here. Best powerlifting program. Okay, the other thing you could do is come in here and you can go, so we can start to narrow to what would be good content to create. I like to do any word. I do why, I do what, I do where, I do how, I do is. These kind of modifier phrases, and then we apply. Okay, and we show results here, and we see what spits out. What is powerlifting? How to start powerlifting. Guaranteed I'm making this right here. Piece of content that has to be made. How to start powerlifting, okay? Let's see, what is a good, how to begin. Look at that, it's over and over again. How to get into it, how to begin it. Ooh, is powerlifting bad for you? 100%, I'm making that content. How to train for powerlifting. I'm making that content. How to deload powerlifting. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds important. Okay, we got to make that content. What are dots in powerlifting? I'm making that content. Okay, let's see what this kind of search just revealed. It just took us into the article-y kind of territory, right? Because these are the kinds of words that are used in articles. So that's another way to filter and get right to some golden nugget ideas. Okay, all right. We'll I think we've given enough value. Let's move on to segment number 2. We got to save time for the rest of what we have to do here. Let's take a look in the chat and see what people are saying here. Is this helpful? Do you guys like this kind of like, okay, we've left the website and now we're just deeper into like a strategy territory here, and the actual execution of what that looks like? Drop your comments. Let me know. We will get to questions in just a second, or well, not just a second, in a little while. All right. Let's see. Eastwood, we changed the time. Okay. I'm looking for any comments on this site here in particular. Throwing shade. Simon throwing shade here. Programs page needs some spacing love. Free program page looks like a blog template. I agree. I'm looking forward to submit my first client website for the next time. It's an NGO for information and civic participation. Sounds riveting. Just kidding. Yes, submit, please. What a before or after of a successful client work. Look how buff you'll be after. Yeah, absolutely. Before and after on fitness sites are, that's a given. The image on the hero represents the statement, with the help of our coaches, you can achieve strength levels you never thought you were capable of. Doesn't the image show the result of the promise right at the hero? I mean, that's one way to look at it. But what I'm also, and we have this conversation all the time, sometimes that can be intimidating. And I'm not saying that one photo. Okay, you got to take it in context. If every photo is like that, I might feel a little left out as a beginner, right? I want to see people who look like me doing this thing, right? And so you got to sprinkle some of that in. You got to make sure those people aren't left out in the visual diversity department, right? So I'm not saying that image alone is bad, but unfortunately it was like the only image it's like the only thing we can chew on. Personally, I don't like that they're embedding mailer light forms. I'd like to see even the bricks form with an integration. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a big fan of that. It's a technical thing. Some people aren't technical enough to, figure that integration kind of thing out. I wouldn't trust myself if my spotter was just on Zoom, but I'm not in the target market. It looks like a brick site. Okay. All right. That guy scares me. Okay. All right. All right. And then we're back to the other site. All right, let's move on. So here's what we are. Powerlifter would want strength results, not how buff they look. They don't care about looks. Yeah, that's a good point, Rob. I think you're right there. That it is more about the strength side of things and the performance side of things and so on. Okay. Let's go on to segment number 2. So we're going to close this stuff out. Let's go local. Let's open a site. And let's talk about what we're going to talk about here. Close this. So segment 2 is going to be radius. We have a discussion here about how we're handling 2 different things. Number 1 is radius. And number 2 is concentric radiuses. Radii. Is it radii or radiuses? You will never catch me saying radii. All right. So don't tell me that's the right thing, because I'm rejecting that at face value. All right. We're going to go to pages. Let's get a sip here. And we are going to open and start talking about this. Okay. Let's give you guys some context as to what's going on. What we're going to be doing in this live segment is frame working. This is what frame working looks like, okay? We're not working. We're not doing client work. We're frame working. We're working on our process. We're working on efficiency, scalability, maintainability. This is the life I live constantly as the developer of a framework, right? So I'm going to add a card. Let's go ahead and do a div here. And we'll just call this radius card. Radius card. Okay, and we will put some text in it. We don't need much in it. This is a radius card. Okay, and this is going to be our text. And what I want probably, let's go wrap with block. And we're going to have like an inner situation. There's a bunch of different ways to do this, which is part of what we're going to have to talk about. So we've got radius, inner, and then we've got text. Then I could potentially auto BEM these things. So radius card inner, radius card text. Let's go ahead and apply these classes. So now I have classes on things. Let's go to the radius card itself, and let's add a little bit of padding here. All right, let's go with M, and let's put that on all sides. And then with our inner, I think we could put some padding on that as well. So let's go with M on that on all sides. Just kind of getting set up here. All right, on our radius card outer, let's just drop in any color. Let's go background light. Okay, I think that'll work. And then on our inner, we'll see if we have enough. Let's go with like white. Okay, and then on our page here, let's go with a BG of. Just want to make sure that we can see this with a little bit of contrast, so it doesn't look like a complete cutout scenario. BG, what just happened there? Let's go right click. BG, did I misclick it? Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Bang. Oh no, it's working. It's working. Okay. I don't know what was going on. All right, let's preview this on the front end. So here's our radius card. We've got an outer, we've got an inner. I'll fix the inner if you guys can't see the inner well enough in just a second. But what we want to do is first talk about our radius system. Right now on radius card, what you could go down and do is you could go to border and you could go to radius, and you have all the t-shirt sizes to choose from, right? It's like, do I want an M radius? Do I want an S radius? Do I want an XS? Do I want an L? Do I want an XL? And you can put it in. Let's put in an M. And then let's apply that to all sides. So there's your radius M. And now we're gonna get, actually I wanna make this a color. Let's go make this a color, so make it obvious. Let's do action. Let's just do action. It's ugly, right? It's ugly, but we can see what's going on here. All right, so the first thing right off the bat is I don't like the fact that we choose radius M. Because if you think of a typical website, on a typical website, there's just a radius. Like, for the most part, the same radius is used everywhere. I mean, the concept that you would have like images with a large radius and then cards have a small radius, and like, it's starting to feel very janky, isn't it? It's like, what's going on here? There's no consistency on this website. So to me, you just have a radius. Like there's a site-wide radius. And then some sites have no radius on anything. It's squares. And so you could just set the radius to 0 at that point. So right now, what we effectively have, and let me go and where's the best way to do? I guess we could go up here. Let's go to themes. No, let's go to page settings, custom code. Okay, so what we have is radius XS. We have radius S. We have radius M. This is the argument that I've been making. And this is why I'm getting ready to make this adjustment. But we have to talk about the adjustment. Radius XXL. All right. First of all, to me, that's too many options. We don't need all those options. And I hardly ever use all those options. I mean, once you use one, you don't really need to worry about the other ones all that much, right? I guess it's good to have them. And if you look in automatic CSS, they're based on a scale, okay? Just like everything else. So if I go to back here and we look at the radius system, you have a base radius, okay? That maps to M, radius M. The rest of the sizes are generated based on this scale. So L is 1.5 times bigger than M, and XL is 1.5 times bigger than that, and so on. And then the smaller sizes are down from there, okay, by 1.5. You can change the scale. That changes all the sizes. You can change the base, all right? But still, I don't like it. It doesn't feel good because this is not how I work. And this is an example of like, this was the original radius system. And then we actually look at how things work in the real world and we end up making adjustments to some parts of the framework, right? So to me, you just need this. This is all you need right here. And so if I am going to add a border radius to a card, I would want to come down and I would just want to add the radius. Just that's it. What else do I need to say about it? It's the radius for this website. And this brings up another conversation of like you're working from project to project to project. If there's only sizes available, I have to know what the answer is. Is this site using M? Is this site using L? And now what I have to do is I got to stop what I'm doing and I got to go look at another object that has a radius on it. Well, what'd they use there? Oh, it's an L. Okay. And now I'm back to using L. Why? Why do I have to look that up? Why do I have to know? Why do I have to care? I don't give a fuck what radius they're using. I just need a radius. Can you just give me a radius? So I think my argument is the word radius is way better. It's just that's the radius. Okay. Now that can map to M or L or XL or whatever it needs to be. So what I'm proposing is this value right here, the base radius, just maps to a variable called radius. It also maps to radius M because we already have that. But that's just it's neither here nor there. We would instruct people to use just radius. That's it. Just use radius everywhere. Then you can still calc your radiuses if you need to make a small adjustment or whatever. So I think that's what I'm going to do 100% is we're just going to have a radius variable. And this is what we're in, like in frames. In frames, we use radius everywhere. That's all we use. It's not card radius. It's not this radius, that radius. It's not M, L, XL. It's just radius. And then if you're on a site where everything is a square, you just go to your base radius and go 0. I don't need it. We're not using radius on this site. Okay. Now there's situations where maybe some things would have a radius, but other things I don't know. That still feels a little janky to me. But it's not it's not a situation that can't easily be overcome by radius because the fact that this is a generic token means that on any element, look at how it's not even defined right now, right? That's why we're looking in a square. There is no value defined currently for this. Now, if automatic CSS defined a value, that would be one thing. I hate how this jumps around. They got to fix this section up here. All right, so we're going to define this. Let's go of one rem. See, now it is defined as one rem, but this is defined at the root level. This is like what automatic CSS would do. But then I'm on a card, guys, radius card. Well, the specificity of this class is not going to stop me from just coming down here and redefining the value. I mean, if I really care and wanted to have a different value, I would just redefine it, right? So now it's been redefined at this class level for this item, and it has a new value, that's the great thing about tokens. So there's nothing stopping you from still having all the infinite flexibility. You could even just map radius to radius L or XL or XXL, right? There's nothing, there's no loss of flexibility. You could still do whatever you want, right? So that's what I am proposing as the first primary change. Let's get rid of the t-shirt sizes and just have a radius. That's what you have. That's what you use. And it makes it super easy. Okay, so the next problem that we have to solve is concentric radiuses. If you don't know what it, because we've been thinking about, like, it's ideal if you're using radiuses to also use concentric radiuses in situations like what you're seeing here, which is a nested radius, okay? Where we have an outer radius and then we have an inner radius, all right? So how do you, first of all, we need a variable for this, right? So we would come up here. This is our thinking. It's the start of the thinking process. And I'm doing this live because this is not all been mapped out. We're having this conversation live. Concentric radius, right? And the question now is, what is the value of that going to be? Okay, well, I'll tell you how concentric radiuses work. They're a calculation based on your base radius, which we now know is just going to be radius, plus, and this is the hard part, the padding of the container, or really what amounts to the space between the two objects. So this white space right here should be added to the radius of this inner container right here. And let's say, just to make this very simplified, I'm going to take out space M, okay? We're going to make this padding 10 pixels, okay? We're greatly simplifying this. Let's make it 20. So there's 20 pixels of padding in this object right here. And now I'm going to go back to page setting. Here's the bug I'm going to tell you. Look, you see I can see the code right there? Watch this. I'm going to click on it. Can't see it anymore. It's gone. It's gone. Come on, Bricks. Come on. What are you doing to me? You make me scroll up every single time. And I can't tell you how many times I've started to write CSS in this box, because when the box is blank, you don't realize it just scrolled it up on you. You start writing CSS and header scripts. Oh my gosh. Okay. We got to fix that. So radius plus 20 pixels is our concentric radius value. And let's just simplify. Now we'll leave it. I think you guys can get this. Radius is there. Radius is here. Okay. So radius plus 20 pixels. So now what we have to do is we have to apply the concentric radius here. Okay. Concentric radius gets applied to the outer item, and then the inner item actually gets the real radius. Okay. This is the actual real radius. And that is the effect that you get. Okay. Now, if there was a lot more content in this card, it wouldn't look like, that looks terrible. You're like, I don't even know what's going on. But if this was a real card with real content, like you would see, just look up concentric radius, right? You'll see bunches of examples for it. Okay. And let me make sure our screen sharing is still going good. I haven't even checked on viewers. Wow, we have a ton of viewers today. Okay. For a normal WDD live, this is good. All right. So let's go back to frameworking, problem solving, thinking, calculating. All right. Where did this 20 pixels come from? We know we can't use magic numbers. You can never use, none of this works with magic numbers, okay? All right, so this needs a token of some sort. What is the token going to be? Well, it's the padding, or it's the space, or it's could it be margin? Is there a situation where it could be margin and not padding? Does padding always make sense? I don't know. I don't know the answer to these things. So we could say that it's just space. Right? The space between the two elements, the outer element and the inner element. All right? Let's go down that road for just a second. The space. So now, and this kind of makes sense because you guys know that the variables that we use here are space variables, like L, XL, whatever, okay? So what I need is I need this to be space. And then I need to define space somewhere, right? Which we can obviously do way down here. And this is one knock on every single page builder. The fact that I cannot define local tokens. Guys, what are we in? What is this, 2018? I mean, why don't we have a workflow yet for defining local tokens? It's another good question I feel like we should ask. Let's go to space M. See what happens when I define the local token? Now what I'm doing is I'm giving the concentric radius the knowledge that it needs to do its work, all right? So now I've defined space as space M. What I have to do is I have to come back up here. Let's go with, we're getting a little lost because you see how I'm having to bounce around to like 80 different areas. Like, oh, well, go to the custom code on the page and do this and that. Okay, so we've got radius, concentric radius is, and then we may run into what I call like an encapsulation issue. We'll see in just a second with these variables. So we have radius plus space. All right, let's go back here and see where we're at with our border. Okay, we've got our concentric radius is struggling to calculate right now. Then we have our inner radius. It also, we're not helped by having to go to the inner thing to edit the inputs there, to the outer thing to edit the inputs here. And this is another problem that I've highlighted with page builders is if you know how to write CSS, you're way better off writing CSS than using these inputs. Going and finding inputs, going from element to element and into the panels to find their inputs, tremendously slows down workflow, and it spreads out all of your work. All of your work is littered all over the place, and it's like hard to keep track of what's going on and where it's going on. Okay, so now let's back out, and we'll go to the next segment of this, which is there is a new feature in Automatic CSS 3.0, if you're not aware, called recipes. And my thought was, because you can't just have a concentric radius variable and everybody's happy, because if we look at it, obviously, the concentric radius variable has a value that it needs to know. Like it has information it needs to know. The user has to tell it what the value of the space is. So how do we manage that? Well, actually, this concept of recipes is a really, really good way to manage that. And a recipe is basically something like a concentric radius, all right? And I have a video on it. In fact, let's go to the community real quick. It's a very, very short video, but if you haven't seen, because I can't actually show you the 3.0 branch that it's in. 3.0, let's look for recipe. Okay. Yeah, there's documentation on it. You can read the documentation if you want to. Let me see if I can find the video. There's like a little loom that I did. Let's go recipe. What did I call it? I called it. Was I still calling it expansion at the time? We won't look too much for this. Problem okay. Oh, I did do. Maybe I called it sneak peek. Oh, no. Why aren't these in date order? There's no way to order these by date. Come on, what's this called? Circle. Okay. Breaks components for sneak peek, W's form, sneak peek, hidden, generate, UI style guide. Okay. All right. We won't look. Oh, kind of. Is this it? I think it's this one. 3.0 kind of. Grid, sneak peek, contextual, color. Okay. Alpha group. Okay. All right. Here it is. I think this is it. Okay, let's watch this real quick.
Everybody wants a sneak peek of Automatic CSS 3.0. This is it's technically this is a sneak peek of Automatic CSS 3.0.
Can you guys hear that? Recipe was on Facebook, I know. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear this? Just tell me if you can hear it so I can play it. Can you hear it? I'm waiting. There's a stupid 15, 20 second delay for YouTube. Okay.
I'll give you a sneak for this feature. Set up, right, of L thing based on, or you can have to do is I would come up here to the utility classes and I would do something like call count 2 or 3 or 4, or you can do a call width. right, of L or M or S or something.
Okay, you get what's going on here. We use utility classes, yada, yada, yada. Okay, but if you don't want to do that, if you want to assign these things to custom classes, there's no way to do that. It's not physically possible, right? So I'm showing how you can, I'm showing the concept of mix-ins. I'm just kind of getting us through this video. All right, let's go to maybe this part right here.
Let me take all that out of there. So this, okay. And this is the feature, guys. This is the feature. So variable expansion and validation. I'm just going to take a little pit stop here, just so everybody's on the same page. We can do things like this. Let me take all that out of there. So, you know, we have something like color, and then if I do double dash action and then hit a semicolon, it auto wraps it, right? That's called variable expansion. We have calcs where you could do font size. All right, and you could say, I want to do text L times 1.1, and then when I hit semicolon, bang, it wraps all of that, right? That's been fantastic. Okay, this is the next evolution of that. So now, again, I'm thinking in SAS mixins. I want the recipe. See, a normal variable is you're just getting a value for something. No. Now I want the recipe for something, not the value for something, the recipe for something. At columns. And when I hit the semicolon, just like I do with all other variable expansion, this is now utility expansion, gives me, guys, the recipe just right there, attached to my custom class, just like a mixin works. Now, it does have the downside. A mixin stays wrapped.
Okay, so you guys get the concept. So this is how we could do this with clickable parent. We can do this with focus parent. I show how to do this with colors. So if you want the action color, but you want the actual HSL string with the partials in it so that you can make a custom transparency. Okay, all of that is coming to recipes. There's going to be shareable recipes. So you can share, like anybody, any user can share a recipe with another user and they can just import it into ACSS. It's going to be really, really, really good. Now,
it's not expanded.
We can close this video. So what we need to think about with this radius situation, the concentric radius situation, and let me get all of this out of here. All right, so border, radius. Okay, we got to clear all this out because this is not, you don't want to be in all these panels doing all this stuff. Okay, so the inner is cleared. Let's get the outer cleared. Okay, let's get that out of here. You don't want to be in here. This is not the life you want to live. I promise. It seems like it's really user friendly. It's like, oh, it's writing the CSS form. No, you don't want it doing that. Okay. All right, let's get this out of here. I think we're starting from scratch now. All right, we'll leave the background colors and that kind of stuff. Okay. So now we want to think about authoring the recipe. How do we author the recipe for concentric radiuses? Which would be something like this. I go to my parent element, my radius card, and I type in concentric radius and I hit a semicolon and it just bang, the recipe pops into the screen. And then I'm good to go, right? It's doing all the heavy lifting for me. Awesome. Okay. So what we're going to do is start to author the recipe now. So what I need is my root, which is the radius card. That's going to have the padding, right, of var space. Okay. And then I'm also going to be, what I like to do is, you could do this in the same root selector, but I like doing it in multiple root selectors because it feels more organized to me and like compartmentalized. So I'm compartmentalizing the local variables from the code that's actually running the instructions. So I would do something like space, and then the user maps this to whatever they want the space to be, right? Like space M. And so you see that spacing come into play. But I'm taking this generic token because my concentric radius variable is going to be looking for that, and it's going to look to reference that. All right, so we have that there, and then in my inner, so I want to come down here, and the only reason these recipes are even possible is because of this dynamic root selector. Because we don't know what your classes are going to be called and all that stuff, but we're able to just reference them, which is really nice. All right, so we have the root inner. This is going to be padding, and you could make this be whatever you want. This does not affect the only space we need to know the value of is between the two elements, not inside this inner. Whatever's inside this inner, it doesn't matter to us, right? Okay, on the parent, we have a border radius of concentric radius. Concentric radius. Definitely have to make sure you're spelling these things right or your shit will not work. And then on the inner, we're going to have a border radius of var radius. Okay, so that's like my real radius. Then this is my concentric radius. And then I can even give see, I don't even know if we need a global concentric radius variable. We just give it to people within the recipe, right? So let's go with a calc and let's do var. And we're going to take our normal radius and we're going to add our space, right? And that is the concentric radius right there. Okay. And now I think the only challenge here that, we're going to have to probably comment in, okay, is target your nested radius element, right? So we got to kind of give instructions with these recipes. I don't know if you saw that in the quick, glimpse that we saw of the feature actually working, but the recipes come with instructions, which is really nice. It tells you if you need to change anything down here. Like, for example, do we know that you're going to call your inner thing inner or that you're going to use BIM? No. I mean, we don't know what you're going to do with that inner thing. So target your nested radius element. So we give you a sample, but then you may have to go change this little line right here. Everything else is done for you, but this is why you're calling for the recipe. Because you need to make it, it's like, hey, you know what? I like a little bit more sugar in my recipe. I like a little bit more butter in my recipe. Okay, now it's up to you. You got the recipe, but now you're free to make whatever changes you want to make, right? That's another value of the recipe. Okay, so I'm thinking that like this line right here, I don't think we need in automatic CSS an official concentric radius variable. I mean, we could map it to this automatically because what if this was already mapped in the global style sheet? Like it didn't need to be here and this all still worked. Would that be better? I think maybe that would be better. So maybe we do something like that. But it would force you at that point to use the word space. So we all have to come to an agreement that this makes the most sense to use to describe the space between the two items. This is where we need like feedback. This is the kind of conversations we always have to have, Because you could go a bunch of different ways with this. And there's going to be people with different preferences. Now, we don't have to nail it too much because, again, you have the recipe. You can change the recipe if you want it. Here would be like, this is the parent element, okay? Parent element, and I'll say parent element gets concentric radius. Target your nested radius element and use base radius, okay? So kind of explaining to people how this all works, okay? This would be like set up concentric radius tokens. Yeah, something like that. So this is kind of what the recipe would print when you ask for it, okay? Let's see what this question. And then we're going to go, I think this is enough for, unless, now it's free for all. Put in your comments. I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on, does this make sense? Would it work like this? Would this recipe be valuable? Let me know. And then we're going to hop into questions. All right. Might I propose a duplicate recipe that goes from outer to calc the inner for those of us who want to work outside to inside for consistency? Concentric outer plus concentric inner. The problem with concentric inner, we were talking about this in the chat beforehand, our internal chat, is going back to the concept of a website having a radius, right? A radius that we use over and over and over again. The inner is the radius you should use everywhere. That inner radius should be the radius that's used everywhere else. The only radius that's different is the concentric radius, which is the outer radius. So to me, this is the only way that it makes sense to do it. You wouldn't want to work backwards because you would end up with an inner radius that's not like your other radiuses on the website. That's the thing, right? That's the challenge. Sounds like I'm going to save time on using the builder and waste time dissecting the recipe. I personally like the builder and t-shirt sizes. You can't do this with t-shirt sizes. See, we're solving a challenge that's not solvable in the current paradigm. In the current paradigm, you have to know how a concentric radius is calculated. Then you're going to have to go make variables for these things yourself. The idea that you doing this manually would be faster than a recipe is I think there's a lack of understanding of how this is working. You would never be able to do this from scratch faster than you can call for the recipe and even read these comments and even understand. First of all, if you're calling for the recipe, you already understand what a concentric radius is, right? And you would presumably maybe know how it's calculated. But the fact that you're going to write the calculations, create I just had to create that token. I had to create that token. I had to go use these tokens. I had to mentally conceptualize that I'm going to do a root and a root inner and where to put what. The idea that you're going to do all that from scratch faster than calling for the recipe that's a no-go. That's never going to happen. The recipe is always going to be faster, and it's always going to be easier. So yeah, I would say that's not a thing, right? And the idea, you just saw me go through all the inputs. The fact that you're going to click on various elements in here, especially when this card gets even more complicated, and litter this stuff everywhere and still make sense of it. This makes the most sense. Everything's right here in one place. You can see the relationships between things, and then you can call it in a split second. I don't see how any other methodology would be faster than this right here. Yeah, I think, this is correct. The outer radius equals the inner radius plus the padding is the only way to calculate. So you have to start inside out. You can't go outside in. You can go outside in, but again, you're going to end up with an inner radius that's different from all of your other radiuses on the site. Now you have a consistency issue. So when I wrote the article, if you haven't read this article too, I think this is good. I think this is really good to do in general. But now you'll start to get an understanding of this article that I wrote. A CSS framework is required for maintainable web design. One of the key points that I make here is that you're either working or you're frameworking. None of you get paid to framework. I get paid to framework. None of you get paid to framework. Okay. So the longer you spend sitting around thinking about this kind of shit right here, you're just lighting money on fire, right? It's better if other people, someone else does the frameworking part for you so that you can just do actual work and cash checks, right? We could keep going with this. We've already had discussions about, can we work outside in versus inside out? Maybe it's faster to do this in inputs. Maybe it's faster for the user to do this themselves. How much money are we going to light on fire, right? Versus if this just is handed to you on a silver platter. Like we already did all the thinking. We already did all the logistics. Now you just call the recipe and use it. That's where the value of a framework really, really shines and comes in. Think about clickable parent. You don't even know, I can't do it right here because this isn't 3.0, but the idea that if I wanted this card to be clickable now, that I could literally come in here and change this to a link, okay? Now, obviously I can go clickable parent, all right? And then I put, a position relative on the card and I move on with my life. But that's not assigned to a class. And we're not using components, so this is a very dirty way to do this, right? And you should not be a dirty person. Just try not to be in life in general. Just don't be a dirty person. Don't do that. Don't do that. We need to assign whatever makes the clickable parent thing happen, ideally should be assigned to this thing, radius card, right? So what you can do now is you can come down here and say at clickable parent. You could just call oh God, look at that. It just worked. Whew, look at that. I didn't even know. What branch am I in? I'm just in a random, I am in a 3.0 branch. I'm glad we have not actually shown anything, but this is good. Okay. So you just saw the recipe just happen in real time. Look at this, begin clickable parent. There is all the recipe to make clickable parent. Now, the idea that you're going to study how that, you don't even need to know how it's done. Fuck it. Just move on with your life. There's actually nothing you really need to do here. It's just done. This is a clickable card. And it's removed. The clickable effect is removed for you in the builder. I mean, it's fantastic. Look at that. I was like, I want clickable parent. There it is. Hey, you know what? You know what I also want? I want focus parent. Focus parent. Helps if you spell them right. Hey, there's focus parent right there. Look at these recipes I'm just bringing in. I want a clickable parent. I want a focus parent. Look at that. We can also, let's see, action color. Oh, look at that. My gosh, you could just call that right in right there. What if I wanted a custom action color transparency, right? And maybe I want to map that to a variable here. Okay, so we're going to go, we could actually define it on this root, okay? Maybe I don't want it to be global. Maybe I just want background color, and I want to assign this transparency to this card right here, but it's a funky transparency, right? We have 10, we have 20, we have 30. No. I want 17 and a half, okay? Bev wants 17 and a half, okay? Well, there is no 17 and a half. There's no action action trans 17.5. This does not exist. It can't even work. But with the recipe, I can go, give me my action color. I want the partials. And now I just go 0.175 or something like that. I think that's 17.5, right? I don't know. But look at that. You see it? Custom transparency right there. Let's go. I want 27. Okay, there's 27 for you right there. Let's get rid of this ugly background, and you'll actually be able to see it. Look at that. Now, you could know that there are partials and go, yeah, I know how to do this. I'm just going to write action H. Then I'm going to write, I made a typo. Okay, I'm going to do action. Fuck all this. Why am I doing all this typing? Nobody wants to do that. I want action color. Just give it to me, right? Bang, there it is. Now I can do whatever I want. If I want to manipulate the saturation, I could take this out, put my own saturation value in there. I want to calc the saturation. I can go do that just fine, okay? So that was action S, and then I'll multiply it by, 30% or something like that, or 30, I guess, would be what you do. There you go. Ooh, that's hyper saturated. Anything you want to do is open season now, right? And you don't have to spend time writing the entire string with all the partials. You just say, I would like action color, please, and it gives it to you. And the idea that you can expose utilities like this within a framework, this has never been done before. This is not a thing that's ever happened or been available to anybody, okay? The idea that you can expose entire recipes from a framework, never been done before. Not something you can do anywhere else. So, and it's going to be insanely helpful. Now, the fact that you can create your own recipes, think about that. The fact that you can share recipes, think about that, the level that takes things to, okay? It's going to get fun. It's going to get pretty fun. So that's coming. If you guys want a sneak peek, there you go. There's a little bit. Now, you can't see the real thing. You're not seeing the thing. All right. So, like, you think there's still a dashboard back there somewhere. There's no dashboard on this site back there somewhere, okay? But you're not seeing the thing, right? You're not seeing the goods that you wanted to see. I don't even know how this is happening, honestly. I thought I switched branches before we started this. Well, and I didn't. I thought I did, and I didn't. It's sitting right, it says build 3.0 right at the bottom of my screen. Okay. All right, well, let's get out of here before something bad happens. That was the discussion on radius and doing a little frameworking. Okay. Yeah, go read that article. I think that article is very insightful. All right, let's go into Q&A. Live Q&A here. All right. Let me go search for the Q&As. Before we move on, I've got to switch branches over here on this screen. Yes, we want to be in this branch, please. Thank you. All right, let's reload. Let's reload this. And this time we'll actually do a check of, there you go, 2.81. Okay. We're safe. We're safe. Safe from exposing 3.0. All right. Oh, gosh. That was fun. All right, let's go search for Qs. Q. Oh, good. A lot of questions. Is there an ACSS solution for Brick's mobile menu? The top padding is not working well at my site. Is there an ACSS solution for Brick's mobile menu? It's a disaster. Brick's mobile menu is a disaster. Brick's menu element is a disaster. I don't like any of them. I hate them all. We're building our own. Hopefully, with any luck, we can make it better. Is it possible to create a dynamic accordion using ACF repeater fields? Yeah, absolutely. If we get time in a minute and there's no other pressing things, maybe I can run through it real quick. What time will be the YouTube series? You're talking about the Mark one? It's pre-recorded. So we're going to record it tomorrow and then I'll probably publish on Thursday. So hopefully Thursday you'll have the first episode of that. How do you land on the 1,000 plus clients in my country? Clients really aren't willing to pay such, hence how one can transition from local to international client. Well, I need to know what country you're in. And there's other things involved. You know, how well do you speak English? There's a bunch of ways to get business from other countries. You don't have to get business from your country. But I do really need, we're just spewing hypotheticals if I don't really have any other details. Possible tutorial on an accessible before-after slider that winds up as a frames component. Great for services pages. Yeah, I think we need to put that on the list. We need to put an accessible before-after slider component on the list. Let me do that now. Let me go to Jira here. I'm doing this on a different screen, so just bear with me. But I do think that's a needed component. All right, Jira. No, I don't want to do no. Get pop-ups, man. Even in the apps, there's pop-ups now. Killing me. All right, let's go to frames components. Let's go to new feature. No, actually, this would be okay, that's fine. All right, so what we want is accessible before after slider component. All right, we're gonna put that on the screen, create. Okay, all right, that's done. In the books. Okay, we will revisit that soon. All right, let me get back to Ecamm here. Fantastic. How do we use, I'm still sick. I've still got this, I'm pretty sure it's COVID that I've had for like a week and a half. And the whole family's had it. And then we've also had some sort of, everybody else has been throwing up, not me, okay? I have an iron stomach, so I've also unsubscribed from a lot of things. I feel like a lot of sickness is you mentally or emotionally at some point like consent to getting sick. I think people do this all the time, so they get sick a lot, right? I don't consent. I've let the universe or whoever know I don't consent to your sickness. And I don't get sick often because of that. Well, it's more of a recent thing. But I've now been through the family being sick 3-4 times. I think these guys, they consent. They must consent like crazy because I haven't gotten it like 3-4 times. This thing finally got me, but the last 3-4 did not get me. And I feel like if you don't mentally and emotionally consent, it really does help out your immune system is kind of kicks into a higher gear or something. I don't know. It's just a theory. Don't quote me. All right. Is online coaching in sports a normal thing? Is not much told of. Okay. That's not a question for the Q&A segment. I've seen your post regarding office hours, which will take place later on this month. Do you have more details on what date we can expect it to take place? It's going to be, I'm going to be out of town next week, for a funeral. So that's that whole week. There's probably going to be no WDD live. There's going to be no nothing next week. The week after that, I will probably be doing the office hours, I would imagine, and back to WDD at that point. Is there a best practice for circular? Don't say radii. That word is banned from our our vocabulary. Radiuses, like transforming an image into a circle with a border. Why does 50% or 50 EM value sometimes make the image oval? Yeah, 50% is going to make it oval. 50 VW usually makes it like a pill shaped. instead of oval. I go with 50 VW for a circle or pill because it's just more consistent than percent. What Ahrefs plan are you on? It's not available. It's a legacy plan. They don't offer it anymore. I'm clutching it like I clutch my pearls. It's like, I don't want to touch anything. I actually don't even navigate to the account section because I've heard of them like auto upgrading people and like they want people off of these legacy plans like ASAP. And so I just go in and do my business. I don't even go to the account section. I don't even want them thinking that I'm considering a different plan because I've heard the new plans are not fantastic. I'm on a plan that does not exist anymore. Why did you use Loom and not the native macOS recording method? Because Loom auto-hosts the videos for me. Will Inner Circle have another full site build once ACSS 3.0 is coming out? Not full site builds. Full landing page builds, yes. Full homepage builds, yes. Not full site. I'm not doing full site builds anymore. Might I propose a duplicate? Okay, we did that one already. Do you have a good example of concentric radius in use? Just go to Dribbble and type in concentric radius or something. You'll probably see a million examples. Can you elaborate on the latest 1.4.4 update from frames where the modal would be fixed? It isn't as positioned towards the triggers off now and causing issues on mobile as well. I haven't looked at it, so I need to look at it. Mateo and the rest of the team are handling a bunch of frames, those kind of frames updates. Okay, I'm curious, what are those curly braces at the bottom right? Okay. I don't know what you're referring to. How can one query in a grid to show only custom posts with child pages in bricks, given that the hierarchical option is enabled? Hold on. Whoa. Hold on. Okay. How can one query in a grid? How can one, like, how can a person, like, how can one, like me, how can a person query in a grid? It's hard to read these questions sometimes. How can somebody query in a grid to show only custom posts with child pages in bricks, given that the hierarchical option is enabled? If you're using hierarchical posts, how can you just query children? Is that what you're asking? Well, if you go to the Inner Circle and you go to probably Brick's query loop recipes, there you go, right there. How to query only children in a random query loop. Now there's an now Circle is, I don't know what Circle's doing sometimes. Like I'm in dark mode, so their dark mode code thing does not apparently work very well. But there's the recipe right there. That's one way to do it. But I think you can also, you can use the default loop, I'm pretty sure. Any of these will work. We'll just go back to radius. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go loop. Doesn't even matter what we're looping. I think you can do child of 0. Let me see. Not 9. I think that's one way to, I would have to go back and test that again. But I think 0 represents a parent, and so you can do a child of 0. I think that might work. It depends on the loop though, too. But if you use this recipe right here, you should be good to go. Okay. With the fall of Quickly, if you have to live in Gutenberg, what would you move into your number 2 position? Gutenbricks or Generate? I don't see Gutenbricks as another, that's just, you're using bricks. And then it's not a Gutenberg building solution. There's not like blocks. It doesn't give you blocks to build with in Gutenberg. That's really what people want, right? So Generate right now is the number 1 for sure. And people ask for like cadence, and let's just do that. Everybody asks me, they're like, "Oh, I use cadence. What's wrong with cadence? Why do you don't support cadence?" All right, you want to know? Let's go. Cadence blocks. I think they have a demo. All right. Account login, pro features, buy pro, account login. No, where's their, I thought they had here you go. Try live demo. Let's do this. Launch my site. Okay. Being directed to the WordPress admin. Let's just see. Let's just see why doesn't automatic CSS integrate with Cadence, and why do I not recommend Cadence? Well, first of all, get all this stuff off my screen. I have no interest in any of this. Okay. Yep. I think we can, select multiples. Okay. There we go. We have a blank slate. Okay. Let's start out by seeing what we can add to a page. So we're going to go here. Here's Cadence blocks. All right. Well, they have a section element. Look at that. Let's add the section element. Now let's look at the section element. Womp womp. There's the first thing I look for right off the bat. Do I have an accessible inner container? Now, can I add, what does this button do? Section? That doesn't do anything. Okay, let's go to here a lot. And this is why I hate icon-only interfaces, guys. Look, I have to study the interface before I can actually get to work. Copy, paste styles. All right, and then I can go into options here. Okay, I don't see any inner container. I can add a block in here. Let's add a block. Okay, this is a section. All right. Let's update this. Now, let me go over here. Maybe there's an option over here that I got to look for. Content overlay link, content max width. That's the invisible inner wrapper right there. Never, ever, ever, you plug-in developers, page builder developers, you listening? Never, ever, ever create a wrapper the person does not have access to. Rule number 1, already broken, okay? Let's go to style. It's not here. I don't see anything. Advanced. Structure settings. Oh, gosh. Womp, womp. Oh, no. Golly. No. This makes no sense to me. All right, let's look at this on the front end. Let me go to style. We got to add some padding. Well, I think we'll be able to find it just because there's text in it. So let's go to front end. Here we go. Inspect. And I know people, like, they don't want me to be hard on these page builders. They're like, come on, Kevin, just be positive. Guys, I asked for a section. A section is it's an HTML. It's not just a theory. It's not a word processing term. It's an HTML element. I asked for a section. Did it give me a section in the code? No. I still have to go over here. Every section I add, which is like at least 5 per page, it's going to force me to go to advanced and go, where did it go? See, I don't even know. Block settings, where did it go? There it is, container div. And why? You offered me a section. And I said, yes, that's the thing I want. And then it's like, but it's not really a section. So I don't have an inner wrapper that I can access, which is hugely problematic. I wrote a whole article on it if you wanted the details. It doesn't even give me the tag that I asked for right off the bat, okay? But this is just the start. This is the start of the problems. What's the next problem? Well, now that I've changed that to section, I can actually see where the section begins, okay? So let's inspect again. So there's my section. So there's the invisible inner wrapper. Now, it's got this other div on it called single content. It's got another div wrapping that called content wrap. Then I have an article tag that I never asked for. I did not ask for an article tag. Main tag is all I wanted and all I needed. And then there's a div between the main and the article, makes no sense, which says content wrap. There's content wrap, there's entry content wrap. This is a nightmare. For anybody who's like, what's going on here with this structure? It's just a nightmare. That's what it is. It's a nightmare. Now, we could test some other things. We could say, like, what does it do when I ask it for a heading, right? Heading. All right, okay, it doesn't even offer a heading. That's the Gutenberg heading. All right, let's get rid of that. How about this? Can we use tokens in our paragraph spacing? So let's go top. No, what is this? See? What is this? I'm not a dumbass, okay? This is so like, you must not know what you're doing. Here, just put a slider in here. But the person who does know what they're doing has to go, no, please get rid of the slider. Let's click this over here. Okay, now I can do what I was supposed to be able to do, which is put in an actual usable value here. I can't type M. Can't type EM. 8EM. Can't do it. It's because there's a thing over here. It doesn't like bricks. I can write whatever I want. This thing, it's like, no, you got to go over here. And look at how wildly inefficient this workflow is. that I have to constantly be like, no, I don't want to do it that way. I need to do it this way. Oh, I got to manually select this thing. Then look at this. Because I've chosen IM, I am forced to use IMs in every, what if I want to mix and match? What if I want IMs in the block and I want something else in the inline? What if I want raw values in the block and a token in the inline? Well, no, sorry, I guess that's not possible. Can I use tokens at all? Nope. Doesn't appear to be an option. There's no option for none. I'm forced to have a unit. Why would I ever want to use a builder that forces me to have a unit, that doesn't allow me to use tokens, and that treats me like a moron right off the bat? Like with this kind of thing. First of all, just from a UX perspective, these are input boxes, okay? The fact that a slider appears out of nowhere when I click on an input box, I mean, this is not fantastic, okay? Now, these are tokens. That's like an internal token. But why can't I use my own tokens? What does this do? Oh, that links them. But that's still, that's not helping. Look, I'm just stuck. Anybody operating in 2024 with modern CSS standards, just go back to PB 101, the principle of just tokenizing things. If you're not tokenizing value, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so the idea that I would use a builder that doesn't even let me use tokens at all where they need to be used, no, this is the kind of thing that gets it crossed off the list immediately. And automatic CSS cannot work in this environment. We use tokens for everything. I can't even use a token for the first thing that I wanted to do, much less did I even get the section that I asked for. And then I have a wrapper that I can't even access. I mean, it's just like X, 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 right? It's like down the list. None of the boxes are getting checked. And I hate to sound so like WTF, but to me, it's a WTF. But it's actually not. It's actually not. So here's the calm, collected. See, for me, it's WTF. But I also will just give you the analysis. The message that the builder is giving me and people like me, who are a lot of you, is this builder is not for you. And people are like, Kevin, you got to go to Cadence. Just work around it. Do whatever. No. Guys. I got the message. The message was clear. The builder is not for us. So I don't go to the builder. They gave us that message loud and clear. This builder's not for us. This could be a fantastic builder for the people it's made for. It's not made for us. So we should just go, no, it's not for us. Let's go to the builders that are for us. It's that simple. I'm not saying, never would I say Cadence shouldn't exist. Never would I say that, Cadence is useless. It's useless to me, but it's not useless to everyone. Okay. It's just not for us. And so we just have to accept that. And you can do a quick analysis and just see nothing that we need is here. Now, what I will go a step further and say is this is not a builder for anybody who wants to build scalable, maintainable websites according to the latest best practices, right? Or even just best practices that have been around for years. This is so far behind the times. So if you are concerned with building scalable, maintainable websites, this is not the builder for you. You can't do it. It's not possible. If you care about having a hyper efficient workflow with maintainability behind it, this is not the builder for you. I mean, you saw how atrocious is the workflow for me to have to always switch to this custom size thing and then be forced to use a unit and just make the sections manual, not have access to the inner wrapper, on and on and on and on and on. This is going to be a workflow nightmare. I've been doing this long enough to know I can look at a builder in 5 minutes and be like, this is going to be a nightmare. I would never do it. Never would I wander into this territory. So I'm getting the message, this is just not for me. And I need to go focus on the tools that are for me. So we don't have to talk about cadence anymore until cadence sees the light. And Elementor, I'll tell you right now, somebody at Elementor has been listening. Okay. They're making moves. They're going to bring in classes. They're going to bring in, like everything is going to support tokens. They've already brought in grid. They've been paying attention. Okay. And Cadence will get on board. So where did Generate out of nowhere was like, guess what? We have a class first workflow now. People are listening. And so when I say Cadence is not for me, I mean, as of right now. Now, next year, the conclusion may be different depending on what they do between now and then. And I maintain, guys, 100%. You can build a builder that works for beginners and that works for advanced users alike, and they can both have a great experience. This is not an impossible task. It's not an impossible task. You can make both people happy. You just have to be very careful about how you go about it. And I'll use an example right here with this spacing thing. Now, I don't like the fact that you click an input to make this happen. I actually don't hate this slider, okay? These are t-shirt sizes effectively, right? If it mapped to the things that it needed to map to, right? Let's put in a large here and let's go see what's happened on the back end. So let's go inspect what that just added. So here's our section. Here's our padding. I'm looking in the code right now and it's like, I see no use of tokens, even internal use of tokens. I'm not seeing really anything. Hold on. What did that just do? What did that just do? Okay. Oh God. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, dear.
Oh no. No.
What have they done? They added it. They added, no, baby. What is you doing? No, you can't. No. You can't add the padding top to the inner. Oh no, baby. What? I love that meme. The oh no, baby. What is you doing? I love that meme. This is that situation right here. Oh, see, global KB spacing LG. Ain't nobody gonna use these tokens. But no, this is a fundamental, this is a manipulation of what needs to happen here. Hold on. All right, now it raises more questions. Where's it gonna put background colors? Oh God. Oh God. My head's hurting. My head's really hurting right now. No. No, in no universe should I ask for a black background on a section element and get it inside of the inner wrapper that I can't even act. In no universe should that ever happen. What has happened here? God, I would not be able to use, I would immediately, I would be on the news the next day. I'd be like day one would be like, Kevin switches to Cadence. And then day two would be like, Kevin's in a river. Like he obviously jumped. He's not with us anymore. This is the kind of thing that just makes you like, no, we're not doing this. Can anybody explain this? I mean, clearly here I've selected the section element. I've applied a background color and it's showing up in my inner. And so is the padding. Why do you not use padding in this inner container? Because it fucks your box up. Go back and watch PB 101. Everything is a box. The padding should be in the section element right here. You got to leave this inner box unmanipulated, unmolested. Okay? The fact that this is all gone south. And here's the thing that's, I think, important to consider. We're on the first element. The first thing we looked at went completely south, completely sideways in multiple ways, right? So I didn't even get to finish what I was about to say with this little slider, okay? Because it started doing just dumb stuff. These are effectively t-shirt sizes. If they mapped to like the clamp functions in automatic CSS, it'd be perfectly fine, right? And I have global control over all of those, and they're all related to each other by ratios, and that would be fantastic, but I don't think that's what's happening here. And yeah, it's just not general good UI. But I mean, come on. This is why I can answer the question. When somebody's like, well, why don't you like Cadence? You just a hater? Anybody should hate this. I don't know. Why does anybody like this? It doesn't work. It doesn't work right. The section element didn't work right. The inner doesn't work right. The background color doesn't work right. It's putting the padding in the wrong place. What is there to like? And I'm on element number 1. You want me to keep digging? What else are we going to find? That's the only thing that comes to mind. It's like if all the basics, that's 101 level stuff. If the 101 level stuff is wrong, I can't imagine what else we're going to uncover. What other goodies, right? And again, I don't mean to hate. And it's like, oh, it's not fair. It is. I think it's kind of fair. It just is what it is. I didn't make the facts, right? I'm just saying the facts. All right, let me go back to chat. We're going to head out of here in a minute. We're over time. All right. It hurts me to watch anything related to Gutenberg. See, people say this. Like, I use Cadence a lot. How? Like, I'm just right here. I couldn't even get past step 1. My first question is just how? How? Okay. Just checking chat real quick. We need a new name for builders like Bricks and Oxygen. These are full HTML, CSS, JavaScript editors. It's unfair to call them page builders and get put into the same category as other tools. Yeah, I mean, I think there is a distinction. That's why I call them like professional page builders. Like, it's like kind of like a different category that describes what they are. But then people get their panties in a wad about the word anybody can use the like, yeah, everybody wants to cry about it. So yeah, I mean, I tried. You call them professional page build. I think that's like, there's amateur page builders and professional page builders, like, right? Like Wix, Squarespace, Cadence. These are amateur tools, and that's when people start crying, though. So I guess we can't have those terms. I'm open to suggestions, right? I wish I had seen this review a few months earlier. Yeah, I mean, this is why I try to save people, by the way. People are always like, oh, you're just talking shit about... No, I actually just want to save people from using tools like this. Because here's the thing. If you learn this way, like let's say you learn on Cadence. What did Cadence just teach us? Cadence just taught us that a section element's not really a section element. It just taught us that when you ask for background color on a section, it should actually be applied to the inner wrapper. It just taught us that when you ask for padding in a section, the padding should be applied to the inner wrapper. If you learn on Cadence, you're learning dog shit. You're learning backwards. This is not, and now you have to unravel all this stuff. So then they come to really learn. Oh, I didn't learn on that. Now I got to really learn. I got to undo all this stuff this person thinks they know and teach them the right way to do things. So you've wasted all that time. It's just not, I mean, I just don't know what we're doing here. This is not hard stuff. This is the easiest part of it. Page builders should you got to nail the basics, and then we get into deep, weeds with advanced query looping type stuff, conditions, interactions, and all the other stuff that a page builder really needs to do for us, like heavier lifting. You can't get all the basic shit wrong. Come on. This should be a walk in the park. And I don't know, this is the problem. Every builder does it differently. It's like, what are we doing? Gutenberg, same problem. Gutenberg's like, nobody needs a section. We'll just have containers. Elementor did the same thing. Well, people just need containers. Everything's a box. Everything is a box conceptually. But when you write code, everything is absolutely not a box. A section is not a div. An LI is not a div. A P is not a span. An H is not an OL. These are all boxes, but a box is not a box. Everything is a box, but a box is not a box. They're not all the same. And these page builders treat them like you just need a container. So now what people build with Elementor who don't know what they're doing, everything's just a div. There's no sections. There's no semantic HTML. Creates a mess. Then you get into a page builder that appears to offer you a section, but then doesn't even actually give it to you. So you think you got a section, but really in the code, you just added a div. It's a nightmare. This is a nightmare. There's no standardization. And then I come along and try to create some semblance of standardization, and everybody wants to cry about it. This is the problem that we're facing. This is the challenge. This is the hurdle. But I think we should all be able to agree this is fucked up right here. This is not this situation right here. I know on the internet, it's impossible for 100% agreement. But I really feel like this is a situation where you should be able to get, 99% agreement, and then the 1% of people who just they are dedicated to being wrong. That's where we should be at with this. 99% agreement, and then the 1% of people who are dedicated to being wrong as a profession can still be in the 1%. But you can't look at this and be like, this is the correct scenario, what's going on here. Okay. Yeah, I know you aren't, Tudor, but trust me, there are plenty of people crying. You said it was possible to create a builder that a newbie and a pro could use, but I seem to remember you saying that was the problem with Gutenberg, that they were trying to cater to everyone. Yeah, 100%. 100%. It is a problem that if your mission is to cater to everyone. And I don't think you should market it that way. But that doesn't mean, and here's the context of it, okay? I'll tell you exactly how the builder should be built. You build the builder for advanced users. So you build a builder that an advanced user opens up and feels right at home. And that's like, I'll tell you, when I made the switch from Oxygen to Bricks, it was 24 hours. All it was a matter of is like things are in different places. And then the loop works differently, right? That kind of stuff you're never going to get away from that. UX is UX is UX. You got to learn a different UX, and that takes some time, okay? But coming from Elementor to Bricks or Oxygen, you got to learn what is a class, what is a token, what is a this, what is a that, what's a section, what's a block, what's a div, what's a da-da-da-da-da, right? You got to learn all this stuff. Whereas an advanced user already knows all those things, and so they come in and they're just able to use it. They're like, oh, okay, things are in different places, but I know what they all are, and they're all called the right things. Right? Flexbox is flex, grid is grid. It's not all this cute shit like, oh, there's a group. Oh, do you want a group? And anybody you could study web design for 30 years and be like, you want a group element? And they'll be like, the fuck are you talking about? What is that? I never heard about that. Because Gutenberg was like, oh, people can't, I think, we'll just be cute, I guess. We'll just be cute. We'll call it a group. Okay? So they come up with these new terms for things. We could we could have another field day with Gutenberg and the way that they're doing stuff. But that's neither here nor there. So you build the builder for advanced users. It's got all the core blocks. Okay. You got a section. You have the block, which, I believe Bricks introduced, which is basically a flex box, which is just a shortcut. It's still a div, but it's a shortcut. Then you have a div for the times you don't want it to be flex by default and 100% width by default. Then you have buttons, you have headings, you have text, you have images, you have videos, you have, all the standard stuff. It's all we need. We don't need all the chintzy stuff. Okay. We don't need an icon card and a cute little alert box and things that you should actually never use because they're not even expandable. Going to do a whole video on that. And then you get all the proper controls that the person would want. Then they have to have custom CSS, ideally Sass, but okay, that's a lot to ask for. So custom CSS, custom code block, whatever, I can do whatever I want to do. And then an advanced user is right at home. Then and it's got class first workflow, the ability to create tokens. You can use tokens in all the inputs. You can calc everything. You can var everything. You can do whatever you want. All right. Now what do we do to satisfy beginners? Now we start to scale it back. Now we take concepts like this, which I don't hate. I don't hate this if it maps to the correct things that an advanced user still has plenty of global control over, all the global control that they need. Like in ACSS, you would. So this slider is much friendlier for a beginner, right? Now, the other thing is like, we have to have some semblance of contextual utility. Where are these utilities being used? People, that is highly underrated in automatic CSS, is the concept of contextual utility. Content gap, grid gap, container gap, things like that. Highly underrated because you don't even need to make these decisions anymore, right? And a lot of this stuff, adding a section in automatic CSS, when you add a section in any builder with automatic CSS, your section already has inline padding and block padding in the proper areas by default. The idea that you're going to just go willy-nilly with every section that you add is phenomenally ridiculous. Like, that I have to do this, and then I have to do this, and then I have to remember what I'm using on every section, and maybe I just do medium. If I'm going to do medium on every section, why isn't that just the default so that I just have it? Why do I have to make a decision? Why are we asking the user to make decisions that don't need to be made? This has been the premise of automatic CSS since the beginning. The decision was already made at the start of the project that I want a certain amount of block padding and inline padding on every section. That's done. Nobody needs to make that decision anymore. Only when the section needs to be bigger or smaller do I need to make the decision. And then I can make the decision at that point, right? All of these little details save a tremendous amount of time. But this is a way that you can make it friendlier. Context menus, right click, choose from t-shirt sizes. Automatic CSS is a perfect example of taking tremendous power and making it accessible to anybody. Because I can just right click and choose a token and pop it in. And then I can right click, choose another token and pop it in. I can move on with my life. That's a perfect example. And then how do you satisfy the pure beginners, right? How do you really satisfy the true beginners? Education. PB 101. Anybody that goes through PB 101 is now equipped to do anything they want in a real page builder. And it turns out that when you create an environment, let's create an advanced environment where advanced users can do whatever they want, but then add a bunch of helper stuff in, like sliders that map to the t-shirt sizes, right-click context menus, make it super easy for a beginner. Then just teach them the concepts of classes. And then, by the way, give them other helpers like, oh yeah, you don't want to write all those classes? Yeah, we don't either. We figured that out a while back. So you can auto-BIM it now. So now I could take something with 30 child elements and in one click, they all have classes that are organized and that make sense. Huge time saver. And a beginner can easily learn how to do that. So it's education plus advanced environment plus all the helper stuff that bridges the gap. That's how you do it right there. And I'll tell you, I love to use my mom as an example, okay? She's like the, basically the fresh person to web design. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She doesn't know a lick about anything. If you sit her in front of Cadence, it is this thing right here, Cadence Builder. You sit her in front of Cadence and you come back, just give her YouTube, give her books, whatever you want to give her, come back in 3 months, okay? She still really won't know much of what's going on, all right? But what she will know, she'll know wrong, right? And if she instead just went through PB 101 and then started on a real builder, she would be light years ahead of all this fumbling around in Cadence, doing nothing, learning backwards in a builder that nobody should really be using. That's the difference. It's not like you can build a website without learning. That's not a possibility. So just toss that out. There's no scenario where somebody can come off the street and build a website. That is a fairy tale that only exists in the minds of Wix and Squarespace ad representatives, okay? That is not a reality that anybody else lives. So we already know there's a giant learning curve. So the question is, do you want the learning curve to be the wrong learning curve or the right learning curve? That's the only option. I prefer the right learning curve, do the right education, and then use the right tools versus fumble around in the wrong builder, learning the wrong things, learning everything backwards. I think it's pretty easy. So, you don't have to, the idea, this is where Gutenberg went wrong, by the way, when you try to be for everyone. When I say make it friendly for beginners, I say make the advanced things easier. I don't say dumb it down and try to make it like as cute as possible. Like, group. Yeah. You don't want to learn what a section is. Just here's a thing called a group, and all the other stuff that they did here. Like, let's just take a look here. There's a lot of cadence stuff in here. There's also just again, I couldn't even get started with this because the first thing you need to add to a page is a section. So like, where's that element? Where's the first thing that we need to add? It's not here because they didn't feel you needed it, because a beginner doesn't look for that. And so they base their builder on, well, beginners don't care about those things, so we won't have them. Like, what? Oh, come again? What? What about everybody else who actually needs to build a website the right way? And then cadence is like in between, where it's like, oh yeah, we do give you a section. The problem is it's just not a section and doesn't behave like a section and doesn't have a section. Why? Why is this here? This makes no sense. Oh, that's the other thing. Stacks in Gutenberg. Yeah. Let's add a group. This is fun. This is real fun. Group. Okay. Now it says, look at this. Transform to row. What is that? Or stack. Okay. This is just using Flexbox, right? But it's like, oh, well, they can't learn flex column, flex row. We got to get a cute little name for it. Stack. We'll just call it a stack because people stack stuff. But stack doesn't really make sense either, really. Like, you could scrutinize a lot of these names. And I'll tell you, this is very advanced. CSS is very advanced stuff. The names they came up with already, there's not, there's some areas could use some improvement, especially within the realm of Flexbox. But column and row are the names. Like flex column and flex row. Why would you go from column, which everybody fucking knows? Anybody that's used Microsoft Office knows what a column is. There's no reason to just go off and use a different term called stack. Then you're remapping words for no advantage. That's only a disadvantage now. Oh, learn this new term. Why? It's because we wanted you to. Well, does it do something different? No. Is it easier to understand? No. Why then? Well, because we wanted to, because it's our proprietary system. Well, fuck you. How about that? That's how I feel. Like, what? You want to make it easy for anybody to use it. Quit changing all the words for no reason. That would be like, principle number 1. See, y'all got me. Yeah, renaming things just to be unique is such a bad idea. It is, because it goes against the mission. The mission was we want it to be for everybody. Well, guess what? It's not for me now because you just molested it. So no, it's not for me anymore. I prefer to use an environment that behaves consistently with how I've done things for the last 20 years. A section is a section, a div is a div, a heading is a heading, and a flex column is a column, and a row is a row. And there's no such thing as groups. There's no such thing as stacks. No, quit. They just want to pat themselves on the back. Oh, look at how cute we got. Oh, we made this so friendly. No, you didn't. You made it more confusing. Congratulations. Okay. Yeah, I have to tell you. Yeah, exactly. Standards are such an old school approach, though. It's really not, because the CSS that's the funny thing, right? I advocate for the actual, the terms that are actually used in CSS, because that's what we're doing. The page builder is writing CSS for you. So it would make sense that the things that you're asking the builder to do have the same names as what's happening in the CSS. And the fact is, they say, oh yeah, your standards are old school, Kevin. No. I'm with the current CSS spec that's actually light years ahead of your builder environment, right? The builders haven't, I just explained how bricks, no support for local variables. Way behind. You're way behind. This was years ago this should have been done, right? That's way behind. Gutenberg hasn't even started on it yet. Elementor hasn't even thought about it yet. There isn't not a builder, even Quickly, even the genius forward-thinking Quickly, didn't have a pathway for creating local variables, right? Not that I know of. So no, don't tell me I'm clinging to old standards. No. I'm in the future. Hi, I'm from the future. Okay. Nice to meet you. This is how we do things in the future. That's where we are trying to move these things to. But then there's a bunch of resistance. And the resistance is what's frustrating. And then when the resistance comes from tools doing this kind of stuff, you're like, sorry, you're off the team. Like, we can't really care what you think anymore because you're not even doing the 101 stuff that was done 10 years ago right, much less thinking forwards. And then people are like, you're just a meanie. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm looking at what I'm looking at and I'm describing it in, without worrying about, everybody's feels. All right, I really got to get out of here. I really got to do some work. We're closing in on too much time. Okay, I love you guys. I do really, really, really thank you for coming every single week. Remember, please, that we are off next week. There will be no WDD Live. That's why I went a little bit longer today. No WDD Live next week. I'll be back the week after that, and we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program. ACSS 3 Alpha 1 is almost wrapped up. Alpha 2 is hopefully going to be packaged up towards the end of this week or early to mid next week. And then the Alpha 2 group will be expanded. Okay, so if you've been active in the ACSS group, you have another shot at getting into the Alpha. We're expanding this one much, 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 much bigger. So I think the Alpha 1 group is like 12 people. I would expect Alpha 2 group to be around 50 people or so. So if you're active in the community, you have a good shot at getting selected for being in the Alpha 2 group. Then there's slated to be an Alpha 3, and then it's going to go into public beta. So we're getting very, 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 very close. But go be active in the ACSS community because that's going to make you more likely to get selected. And that's it. You're going to see some good sauce very, very, very soon. We've been cooking hard in the kitchen, and it's getting very tasty. I'm out.